Chapter 308. Under the lead of Yi Tianyun, they quickly went to the Netherworld Empire's territory, the Netherworld continent. The Netherworld continent was next to the Heavenly Boundary continent. The entire continent belonged to the Netherworld Empire, otherwise, it wouldn't be called the Netherworld continent. The Netherworld Empire had absolute power here. If the Netherworld Empire ordered someone to do something, then the person couldn't resist. In fact, the forces in the Netherworld continent were equivalent to subordinates, otherwise, they wouldn't stay in the Netherworld Empire. The Netherworld Empire's ambition had already extended to the Heavenly Boundary continent, but there were also many who didn't want to join, so they didn't dare to force their way in. The area where the spirit race was imprisoned was not far away, it was just at the edge of the Netherworld continent. It was very famous in the Netherworld continent, it was called the Netherworld Prison. They mainly locked up some prisoners, but no one knew exactly who they were. However, there was one thing that many people knew, and that was that after they were locked up, they were never seen coming out again. In the Netherworld continent, the most heavily guarded place was definitely the Netherworld Imperial Capital. This was the place where the Netherworld Emperor lived, so the security was naturally the most heavily guarded. The second place was the Netherworld Prison, which was closely followed by the Netherworld Prison. The security there was so tight that even a mosquito couldn't fly in. If one wanted to break in addition to amazing stealth techniques, they must also have amazing strength. Otherwise, they would be killed by the guards inside. The Netherworld Prison is in front of us. Let's quickly fly down. The higher we fly, the more likely we will be discovered. Yi Qingxian signaled Yi Tianyun to fly down with her. Yi Tianyun nodded. Even if Yi Qingxian didn't say it, he could see that the Netherworld Prison was in front of them. From afar, they could see an impenetrable wall that sealed the entire area. It was like a huge cover covering the ground. The wall was very thick. Aside from the main gate, there were no other exits. There were also divine runes engraved on the wall. Yi Tianyun understood this divine rune. It was a Grandmaster-level divine rune that could greatly enhance the defense of the wall. Not to mention spirit core cultivators, even core transformation cultivators wouldn't be able to easily break the wall. They might be able to break through with a barrage of attacks, but by the time they broke through, they would already be heavily surrounded. How extravagant! It's filled with reinforcement runes. Forget about being a prison, if it were to be used as a city, it would definitely be very difficult to break through. Yi Tianyun looked at the prison, feeling extremely shocked. The divine markings on the surface were all carved by the Patriarch. The divine markings on the inside were also carved by the Patriarch and the spirit race. It can be said that the Netherworld Prison was built by our own hands. Yi Qingxian gritted her teeth and said, I didn't expect it to become our prison in the end, mainly to imprison our spirit clan. Why did they spend so much effort to build this prison? Yi Tianyun frowned. How could there be so many people locked up? After we built it, we didn't go in, so we don't know who's imprisoned here. But now that we know that there are astrals imprisoned inside, that's enough, Yi Qingxian said hatefully. Well, let's go closer and see the situation. Yi Tianyun took the lead and walked forward. The closer they got, the more they could see the magnificent Netherworld Prison. It looked like a small city. There was nothing around the Netherworld Prison, so as long as someone approached, they would be able to see it from afar. Before they got too close, Yi Qingxian signaled Yi Tianyun to stop. Let's go from the side. There is only one gate in the entire Netherworld Prison. Aside from this gate, there are no other entrances. Yi Qingxian said. From the surface, it seems so. We can only go in from the front. Yi Tianyun looked around. There was only one entrance to the Netherworld Prison. There was a huge gate at the front, which looked very imposing. But now it was closed by the heavy gate, so there was no way to go in. Unless they used brute force to break the gate, there was no way to enter. The gate at the front is also reinforced with divine glyphs. It'll be even harder to get in. Yu Qingxian shook her head. We can sneak in from another area. Don't forget, the divine glyphs in this prison were carved by us astrals, so we know how to break it. We sent some astral disciples in before, but they never came out. I'm afraid they've met with mishaps. They'll definitely be on guard. But at this point, if we don't hurry, the ancestor will be in trouble. Yi Tianyun nodded. Yu Qingxian followed him here not because she was reckless, but because she was prepared. If they couldn't even enter the gate, then what was the point of having the prison key? Yu Qingxian brought him closer to the prison and pointed to the ground. We'll dig a tunnel from here, then break the divine glyphs from underground, then break open this rock. That way, we'll be able to sneak in. No, there's no need to go through so much trouble. Wait a moment. Yi Tianyun shook his head. He didn't want to go through so much trouble. Under Yu Qingshuan's puzzled gaze, he began to explore the front with his powerful spiritual sense. His cultivation had reached the 4th level of the core transformation stage, so his spiritual sense's detection range was definitely more than 10 miles, which was already considered very far. He wanted to see if he could explore the situation inside. He didn't need to explore too deep, just a short distance would be enough. Immediately after he tried to forcibly penetrate the wall, he found that he was immediately blocked by the thick wall. To be exact, he was blocked by the divine glyphs on the wall. The divine glyphs had the effect of blocking the detection of spiritual sense, so it wasn't easy to get in. Not to mention penetrating the wall, he couldn't even penetrate an inch. I don't believe it. Yi Tianyun opened his eyes, and a blue light burst out from his eyes. The heavenly eye was released from his chest, and suddenly, his spiritual force became much stronger. Yu Qingxian felt very strange. She didn't know why Yi Tianyun suddenly used the heavenly eye. After using the heavenly eye, his spiritual force suddenly soared. Soon, all the divine glyphs on the wall appeared in front of him, and he could see which part was weak and which part was strong. It's here. Soon, he found a place where the divine glyphs were relatively weak compared to other places. Then, his spiritual sense rushed towards it, and combined with the heavenly eye, the effect of his spiritual sense suddenly increased several times. Bang! In an instant, his spiritual sense penetrated into the wall, and clearly explored a small area inside. Soon, he stopped, looked at Yu Qingxian and said with a smile, "Okay, we can go in now." Chapter 309. Yu Qingxian nodded. She didn't know what Yi Tianyun was doing, but since he said that they could go in, she didn't ask anymore. Time was of the essence. Alright, let's start digging the tunnel now. Yu Qingxian took out 2 pickaxes. These pickaxes were not ordinary, they were soul tools. It was obvious that they knew they were going to dig a tunnel, so they specially made soul tool pickaxes. Although they were low-grade soul tools, they were still soul tools. With the soul tool pickaxes, digging would be much easier and faster. At least, it would be much faster than using a sword or a knife. Yi Tianyun was speechless when he saw the pickaxes. We don't need these pickaxes. If you don't need to dig, do you want to dig with a sword or with your hands? Yu Qingxian handed him a pickaxe and said, "Don't look at me like this. I've been raising spirit herbs in the spirit tribe. I have to take care of them every day. I'm very familiar with the pickaxes. You won't be able to dig as fast as me." "That's not what I meant." Yi Tianyun shook his head and said with a smile, "Do you believe that I can bring you in instantly? There's no need to dig a tunnel or break through the sacred glyph." "I don't believe you." Yu Qingxian shook her head, her eyes full of disbelief. "This wall is so thick, and there are sacred glyph on it. How can we go in instantly? Even if we can fly, there needs to be an entrance to enter." "What if I go in?" Yi Tianyun smiled. "If you bring me in like this, I'll do whatever you want me to do." Yu Qingxian snorted. She really didn't believe it. "That's fine, you said it yourself." Yi Tianyun smiled. "Then close your eyes now and listen to me. Open your eyes when I tell you to." What do you want to do? Yi Qingxian looked at him suspiciously. I don't know what you want to do. All right, I'll close my eyes. If you lie to me, I'll teach you a lesson. After that, she closed her eyes. In the next instant, Yi Tianyun grabbed her shoulders, causing her body to tremble. Why did he suddenly grab her? Could it be? Yi Tianyun's eyes flashed, and he disappeared with Yi Qingxian. In the next second, Yi Tianyun appeared inside the city wall. Yi Tianyun teleported to one of the small rooms, which was the guard's lounge. It was right next to the wall, so it was the safest place to hide. That's enough, said Yi Tianyun. Soon after, Yi Qingxian opened her eyes. What entered her eyes was actually a room, and it seemed to be a simple and crude residence. Although she didn't know whose room it was, looking at the wall next to her, she exclaimed in shock, "We're in?" She had come in contact with the Netherworld prison before. When the construction was about to start, she came in to take a look. Therefore, she was very clear about the structure inside. She was very clear about where the rooms were and where the prisons were. Now, the situation in this room immediately shocked her. Yes, I've said it before. I brought you in just like that. Yi Tianyun smiled. Teleportation was a trump card, but that was only for the enemy. For his own people, he would use it sooner or later, especially when they were running for their lives. What should be exposed still had to be exposed. Moreover, he didn't really want to use a hoe to dig in. Not only was it a waste of time, but it was also really troublesome. How did you do it? Yi Qingxian was shocked. She couldn't calm down for a long time. This was already beyond her understanding. I don't know how to explain it. In short, it's a secret skill to save my life. I can't use it normally. Yi Tianyun didn't know how to explain it. Teleportation didn't exist here. Is it? Teleportation? Yi Qingxian thought of an ability. Teleportation? Yi Tianyun thought for a while and said, that's more or less the same. You can say that. Teleportation was mainly targeted at those with a physique of the space attribute. It could be used to teleport a short distance. If one's spiritual sense was too weak, they wouldn't be able to detect the trajectory at all. It would be like disappearing into thin air. Therefore, the space attribute physique was especially rare. When one's cultivation was not very high, they could use teleportation. Those who didn't have the space attribute physique could still use the teleportation ability, but relatively speaking, those with the space attribute would be stronger. Not to mention other things, the storage ring that opened up space would have a much larger capacity if it was forged by those with the space attribute physique. This was one of the advantages. Is this a special space attribute physique? Yi Qingxian looked him up and down as if she had seen a ghost. But if it was teleportation, could it teleport such a long distance? Is this very important? Yi Tianyun shrugged helplessly. That's true. As long as it's not an enemy, it's fine. Speaking of which, it's really surprising that you can teleport. But this way, we'll be saved a lot of trouble. Yi Qingxian nodded and quickly took out 2 divine rune talismans from her storage space. These were also master-level divine rune talismans. She handed one to Yi Tianyun and said, stick this divine rune talisman on your body. As long as your cultivation hasn't reached the core transformation stage, it will be very difficult to find us. Okay, no problem. Yi Tianyun took the divine rune and stuck it on his body. Sure enough, as soon as he stuck it on his body, he immediately felt like he was going to disappear. To be precise, he merged with the surrounding environment. From a distance, it was impossible to see anyone standing there. Let's go, follow me. I'm very familiar with the way here. Roughly, the prison is divided into several areas. I think the old ancestor and the others should be imprisoned in the forbidden area. Yi Qingxian explained, the forbidden area can prohibit all spiritual power from entering, so they can't recover. It also prohibits them from using spiritual power. In this way, they don't need to destroy their dantian and can suppress their power. Yi Qingxian was afraid that Yi Tianyun didn't know, so she explained. You're so familiar with this place, why don't you have the key? Yi Tianyun asked. We are very familiar with this place, but only the divine rune is engraved by us. We didn't make the cage, so we don't know the situation of the key. Yi Qingxian felt a little helpless, so we also don't know whether your key is real or not. But since you obtained it from Qingfeng, it is very likely that it is real. Yi Tianyun knew that if it was real, it must be real. This was something that Qingfeng didn't give to him, it must be real. I see, then let's not delay, let's go now. Yi Tianyun nodded. Chapter 310. After they successfully sneaked into the passage, there were no guards around. It's not that the security was not tight enough, but there was no need for it to be so tight. There was only one entrance in the whole area, so there were very few guards. The main thing was to guard the key areas, the other areas didn't need to be guarded at all. Just because the security was not tight, it didn't mean that there were no guards. After they had stealthed for a certain distance, 5 guards quickly walked towards them. Yi Qingxian quickly signaled Yi Tianyun to stop, and then quickly squatted down. In the blink of an eye, she merged with the wall. Unless someone attacked with a weapon, they would never find out that Yi Qingxian was hiding here. Yi Tianyun also squatted down and stuck to the wall, completely disappearing from their line of sight. The concealment divine talisman can't be used to hide people, it's easy to see through it unless the other person's cultivation is too low. But once they squat down and stay still, as long as it's not a very strong core transformation cultivator, they won't be able to detect their existence. The 5 guards passing by were not low cultivation, the leader was a spirit core cultivator, the rest were core condensation cultivators. Basically, there are no guards below core condensation cultivator here, so it's impossible to enter this place with low cultivation. The guards glanced at their surroundings and didn't find anything strange. They continued to patrol and didn't stop at all. Obviously, they didn't notice their existence, so they continued to leave. After they walked far away, Yi Qingxian quickly got up and walked forward with Yi Tianyun. After a few turns, they entered another area, where they can see thick cages made of extremely hard materials, it's very difficult to break them. There are rows of rooms here, in which many cultivators were imprisoned with shackles on their hands and feet. These are not ordinary shackles, they can limit their strength. Even if their cultivation is not low, under these shackles, their strength will be greatly reduced. You dogs of the Netherworld Empire, let us out. If you let us out, your Netherworld Empire will be destroyed sooner or later. Please let me out, I'm willing to do anything for you. Some of the cultivators locked in the cages would rather die than submit, while others kept begging for mercy. They looked quite miserable. Quiet down. Do you want to die? The guard angrily stomped on the cage, causing a dang-dang sound to resound throughout the area. Let us out, you dogs of the Netherworld Empire. One of the cultivators rushed up and laid on the sturdy cage, roaring, you will all die a horrible death. Even if you die, you will never be able to reincarnate. Damn it, then I'll let you die first. The guard did not hesitate to stab the spear in his hand, piercing through the cultivator who had pounced on him. Then, he quickly withdrew his spear. The cultivator's eyes widened as he lay on the ground, twitching non-stop. It seemed that he was not far from death. Who else has any complaints? Speak up. I guarantee that you won't be able to speak for the rest of your lives. The guard glared at them, not caring about their lives at all. All of a sudden, a lot of people's voices weakened, they did not dare to continue to resist. The guards simply wanted to kill them without mercy. I am willing to join the Netherworld Empire, I am willing to serve. One of the core condensation cultivators said while trembling. Alright, then you can come out and eat this pill. The guard opened the cage and pulled him out, then handed him a pill and said coldly. I'll eat. The core condensation cultivator quickly swallowed the pill, but who knew that as soon as he swallowed the pill, his body began to twitch and scream. Several dark veins appeared on his body. It seems that he was poisoned. After a while, the guard took out another pill and stuffed it into the cultivator's mouth. Soon, the cultivator recovered and his eyes were filled with fear. This is a temporary antidote pill. If you don't obey, then you will suffer the pain of thousands of insects. You must take it every once in a while, otherwise, you will die. Don't expect to find a real antidote pill, only the Netherworld Empire has this kind of pill. The guard picked him up and threw him to one of his men. Take him away, it seems that his strength is not bad, let him work in the mine. Of course, if any alchemist really concocted the antidote, then he will not be far from death. Immediately after, the guard coldly looked at the group of cultivators and said, "Are there any of you willing to surrender? Don't worry, no one will save you in this lifetime. If you don't obey our orders, then you can only die here." I am also willing. One of the core condensation cultivators quickly walked over and said, I can forge weapons, can I get better treatment? Of course, no problem, I will send you to forge weapons, the treatment is definitely better than those miners. The guard handed him a poison pill and motioned him to swallow it. The blacksmith hesitated for a while, but in the end, he still consumed the poisonous pill. Following that, he began to scream in pain, and it was no different from before. After feeling the pain for a while, the guard gave him the antidote pill, temporarily alleviating the invasion of the poison. They first let these prisoners feel the pain, then they will know how powerful the poison is, so that they will not resist. Take him to the refining room, let him forge weapons. The guard waved his hand and motioned his men to take the prisoner away. Who else wants to join? If you want to join, take this poison pill, if you don't take it, you can't leave. The guard stared at them and said coldly. Tianyun, who was hiding on the side, saw this scene. This is simply a coercion to force the cultivators to join the Netherworld Empire. These cultivators' cultivation is not low, all of them are at core condensation level, and they have some skills. Tianyun roughly understood that the Netherworld Empire wants to capture a lot of people to work for them, and then use this poison pill to severely restrict them. This kind of overbearing behavior is much faster than slowly training disciples, and the effect is immediate, and there is no way to resist. Resistance is death, anyway, killing them won't waste any of their resources. This Netherworld Empire is really overbearing, as long as they do not obey their orders, they will all die. The Netherworld Empire should be destroyed. Yi Qingxian said coldly. Yes. Now I have a good way to quickly escape from here. Yi Tianyun said with a smile. What way? Yi Qingxian asked. Chapter 311. Release everyone. Yi Qingxian was startled. That's right, release everyone. This way, everyone will frantically run out and take advantage of the chaos to destroy the Netherworld prison. Let's see how they can still do evil then. Yi Tianyun's eyes flashed and said, we don't have the keys to the prisons inside, but the guards have the keys to the prisons here. The guards have the keys to the prisons with low cultivation, but they don't have the keys to the prisons with high security. This is a good idea, but if they run around, they will be killed. Yi Qingxian felt that it was a bit cruel. Letting them run out would create chaos, but they would suffer. Their cultivation was not high, and a spirit core stage cultivator could kill them without any resistance. This was undoubtedly very cruel. When did I say that? This is obviously unfair to them. Yi Tianyun shook his head and said, we must rescue the spirit clan first. If we do it too early, we will alert the enemy. After we solve this problem, we will release all the cultivators. At that time, the Netherworld Empire will have a lot of enemies. Speaking up to here, Yi Tianyun smiled coldly. There were so many cultivators imprisoned here. It was easy to imagine how much resentment they would have towards the Netherworld Empire after they were released from the Netherworld Empire. He could only rescue them, as for what would happen to them later, he couldn't do anything about it. I see. Okay, let's sneak over there. The forbidden area is this way. Yi Qingxian and Yi Tianyun sneaked over there. The guard was only at the spirit core stage, so even if they sneaked over there, they wouldn't be able to detect anything. It was very smooth, and there was no difficulty at all. They easily sneaked over and entered another corridor. This place was the same as the walkway from before. There were many rooms here that were specially for the guards to stay and cultivate. They usually couldn't go out, so they could only temporarily live here. When they were about to go deeper, the door in front of them suddenly opened, and a spirit core stage cultivator came out. But just after he took a few steps, a red light flashed from the side and entered his chest. Puchi. The spirit core stage cultivator struggled for a while, and then immediately stopped breathing. Ding, successfully killed the guard of the Netherworld prison. Reward, 270. 000 EXP, 3,400 crazy point, 200 SPs, reward, Devil Prison Claw, Burst Cut. Reward, Exploding Sword, 1 recovery pill. A figure suddenly appeared behind the guard and quickly dragged him into the room. Then, the figure quickly came out and closed the door. After closing the door, the figure immediately went to the wall and quickly hid. Your technique is too good. Yi Qingxian felt a little speechless. This assassination technique can be described as first class. Even she just reacted. Yi Tianyun has already killed the guard. You are too skilled. Yi Qingxian felt a little speechless. Yi Tianyun's assassination skills can be described as first class. Yi Tianyun wanted to kill the 5 patrolling guards before. There are so many rooms here. After killing them, he can drag them into the room to hide. For the time being, he will not be found. But there are a lot of people. He can't guarantee that he can kill all 5 of them at once without making any sound. If they happen to report it and the security suddenly tightened, then their plan would be ruined. If there are only 1 or 2 of them, then it will be much simpler. There will be no chance for them to send a distress signal. No problem. Yi Qingxian nodded. She had the same idea. If Yi Tianyun didn't kill the guard, Yi Qingxian will definitely kill him first. These guards are scum, and each of them is extremely ruthless. It can be seen from the sin value after killing them. They have tortured a lot of cultivators here, so naturally their sin value is high. After planning, they will clear all the way. When they use their spiritual sense to detect the guards inside, they will open the door and kill them. Only in this way, they can escape more easily, and it is more convenient for those cultivators who escape from the prison. If they are stopped by the guards after a few steps, it is no different from not letting them out. Ready to go to the next area. I don't know what the next area will be like. Yi Qingxian has been here before, but she doesn't know what the next area will be like. After a while, when they just passed through the passage and were about to enter the next passage, they smelled a strong smell of blood coming from inside, followed by continuous screams. They craned their necks to look out. What they saw was that in every cage, there were cultivators being tortured in a frenzy. They were either using some kind of torture device or some kind of poison to constantly corrode their bodies. Yi Tianyun glanced at these cultivators. These cultivators have high and low cultivation. The lowest is not lower than the spirit core stage, the highest is the core transformation stage. There are so many prisoners here. Is it possible that the old ancestor is here? Yi Qingshuan's heart tightened. She glanced at the room in front of her, but she didn't see the room where the old ancestor is, but this didn't make her feel relieved. It can only be said that he is not in this area. But seeing so many people being tortured, her heart tightened. These people of the Netherworld Empire are too cruel. They have been torturing them, and then they will dig out their secrets, or wait until they are extremely weak, then they will use the soul-searching technique. The soul-searching technique is not omnipotent. If the other party's spiritual force is not weak, it is really difficult to find out anything. These bastards. That is the great elder of Chaotian Mansion. That is the elder of Brahma Mansion. And that is the elder of Alchemy Mansion. These are the elders of some famous righteous sects, but they are captured and interrogated. Yi Qingxian bit her lips, she can't wait to rush out and kill them all. Some of the forces have a good relationship with the spirit clan, which made her even angrier. At this time, Yi Tianyun reached out his hand and put it on her body, his eyes were also full of killing intent. After we rescue the old ancestor, we will kill our way out and wash the netherworld prison with blood. Okay. Yi Qingxian nodded heavily. In front of us is the forbidden spirit area, we must be imprisoned there, there is no other place to imprison us. Chapter 312. Do you want to accept the temporary side quest of Destroy the Netherworld Prison, Save All Prisoners? When they were about to walk forward, a task popped up, which made him stunned. Temporary side quest. I accept. Yi Tianyun didn't think about it and immediately chose to accept the task. This was what he wanted to do anyway, so this was a quest that he had to do along the way. How could he let go of this random quest? Especially the current task, the reward is absolutely explosive, no matter what, he must accept it. Anyway, if he didn't complete it, there will be no punishment, but he will complete it anyway, how can he let go of the reward? Ding! Successfully accepted the quest, Destroy the Netherworld Prison and Rescue all the prisoners. Reward, 50 million EXP, 10. 000 CPS, 10. 000 SPs, 200 prestige points, 100 commander points. There is no item reward, it's all attribute reward, but this is enough, almost all the attributes increased. Not only the experience is enough, but the other attributes also increased a lot. Overall, it is quite satisfactory. Anyway, it's just a side quest, so it doesn't matter. Not bad, it seems that God wants me to help you clean up. Yi Tianyun sneered. Very quickly, under Yi Qingxuan's lead, they once again passed through the long walkway. Along the way, they cleared out many guards, and the path was completely cleared. Fortunately, there are no generals, otherwise they will be in trouble. Under normal circumstances, General Long and the others would not stay here. Who would come to this prison if they had nothing better to do? In front of us is the forbidden area. Yi Qingxuan's voice became low. Will the forbidden area affect us? Yi Tianyun asked. No, it will only have an effect on those inside the cage. It won't have any effect on those outside. And it has to be combined with the shackles to achieve this effect, so it has nothing to do with us. Yi Qingxian said. Yi Tianyun nodded and walked out with her. When they came to the corner, Yi Tianyun looked from the side, and what he saw was the forbidden spirit area. The layout of this place was no different from the other prison areas. There were sturdy cages in all directions, but this place was filled with divine runes that continuously drained the spiritual energy in this place. It could be said that there was no spiritual power here. If one wanted to recover any spiritual power, there was no way to do so without taking medicinal pills. Inside these cages were people from the spirit race. They were all imprisoned inside, and their faces were haggard. Even though they hadn't experienced any torture, there was no spirit energy here, so it was very damaging to them. With the help of spiritual power, he could persist for a long time without eating or drinking. Now that they didn't even have spiritual power, they looked like they had been sucked dry. They looked haggard, as if they hadn't eaten or drunk for many days. Yi Tianyun scanned the area. There were quite a few astrals imprisoned here. There were at least 100 of them. There weren't that many astrals in the first place, and 100 or so astrals made up a small portion of their population. Of course, that was more than enough. Moreover, they didn't care if they were old or young, sick or weak, they were all imprisoned here. They looked like they were paralyzed in the arms of their clansmen, and they couldn't even speak a word. They weren't jumping around like normal children. All of the astrals looked sickly and lifeless. This was a sign that they were suffering from an extreme lack of spiritual power. I beg you, give the children something to eat. They can't hold on for much longer. Some of the astrals began to plead. They weren't asking for food for themselves, but for the children. They could continue to hold on, but the children couldn't. Their cultivation was too low, so they couldn't hold on for long like adults. "Ha, do you want to eat?" The guard took some food and waved it in front of them. The eyes of the children in their parents' arms flashed with desire, but they didn't move and continued to lie in their parents' arms. After waving the food in front of them, the guard took a bite and sneered, "If you want to eat, then obediently join our netherworld empire and work for us." The spirit race looked at their children and opened their mouths to say something. However, their children tugged at them and said, "Father, Mother, don't beg them. We can still persevere. We believe that the Saintess will come back to save us." Children, they didn't want their children to submit to the netherworld empire, but if they continued like this, their children would die. Even if the Saintess came, it wouldn't make any difference. When the guard saw that they were indifferent, he angrily stepped on the cage and said, "You have a backbone." He merely let out an angry roar and threw the food in his hand to the side. His face was filled with rage. "Lord Su, please calm down. They will soon compromise." The guard next to him comforted him. "I hope so. They don't want to compromise, and they don't want to take the poison pill. If I didn't have the key, I would have dragged them out and beat them up. If this goes on, how can we make them surrender?" Su Chang's face was full of worry. He came here to threaten them, but he couldn't rush in and torture them. He didn't have the key, so how could he open the door and enter? "Don't worry, when General Long comes, he will truthfully report what happened here, and then we will drag them out. Especially those children, I don't believe that they won't compromise." They sneered. As long as they control those children, they won't be afraid that they won't compromise. That makes sense. They've been trapped in there for too long. We don't know how the poison is doing on the other side, and if we can get any information out of them. Su Chang shook his head. "I'll go over and ask about the situation." "Yes, Lord Su." When they were about to turn around and leave, a cold light quietly appeared behind them. Red light and silver light flashed, and then Su Chang and the guard fell to the ground. The guard next to them looked over and found that there were two people in front of him. "You are, Puchi." Before they could finish their words, a figure had already flashed beside them. Under the flashing of red light, they all fell to the ground with their eyes wide open. They didn't know what happened, but they completely lost their consciousness. At this time, the people in front of them were Yi Qingxian and Yi Tianyun. Their eyes were full of anger. Taking advantage of the moment when they were distracted, they suddenly launched a sneak attack and killed them perfectly. Chapter 313. In their moment of despair, a familiar figure appeared in front of them. There was another figure, which was also deeply imprinted in their eyes. Looking at them now, their figures were so tall and imposing. "Holy Maiden. Holy Maiden is here to save us, it's really Holy Maiden. There's another human. Who is he? Great, Holy Maiden is finally here to save us." They used the last of their strength to climb up, looking at Yi Qingxian and Yi Qingxian with eyes full of hope. "Shh, don't talk, lest we attract the other guards." Yi Qingxian gestured for them to not speak loudly. In fact, they could not even speak loudly. It was already good enough that they could climb up, how could they have the strength to speak loudly? They all nodded, indicating that they understood, and kept quiet, not daring to speak. Yi Qingxian nodded at Yi Tianyun, indicating for him to open the door, otherwise they would not be able to save them. We must succeed to open the door." Yi Qingxian prayed softly. She did not want everything to be destroyed here. They had already succeeded in sneaking in, and now there was only the last step left. She did not want to fail on the verge of success. They had worked so hard to get to this step, only to fail. How tragic would that be? "Don't worry, we won't fail." Yi Tianyun patted her shoulder, then took out the prison key from his inventory. The prison key did not look complicated, just like a badge. Only by embedding it could the prison door be opened. After he took it out, he directly embedded it. With a ding, the badge was firmly embedded. Then, with a creaking sound, the door slowly opened to the side, revealing a gap. When Yi Qingxian saw this, her heart almost flew out of her chest. They could really open the door. It really can be opened. Yi Qingshuan's heart was finally half relieved. This was just the beginning. Only after saving them and bringing them out could it be considered a perfect ending. Yi Tianyun also wanted to bring them out, but using teleportation was impossible. He could bring 1 or 2 people, but there were hundreds of people here, so he could not do it at all. I told you I could open it. There's no need to worry at all. Yi Tianyun wasn't worried at all. He quickly pushed the door open and motioned for the spirit race to come out. Their eyes sparkled as they looked at him, burning Yi Tianyun's figure into their minds. Their favorability towards him soared. There was no better way to help someone than to send charcoal in a snowy day. The way Yi Tianyun had opened the door for them had increased their favorability towards him. When they came out, Yi Tianyun took out a lot of medicinal pills and handed them to them, saying, "Take these medicinal pills, it will help you recover your spiritual power quickly." He still had a lot of pills. After robbing so many people's treasures, he would more or less have a lot of pills in stock. It was a pity that he didn't gain much experience after taking them, so he could only keep them. He didn't expect these recovery pills to be so useful here. Thank you, they were all very grateful, and quickly took the pills. After giving them to the children, they took them themselves. In an instant, their condition was much better. Although they didn't completely recover, at least they were more energetic than before. They even had the strength to speak. Spiritual power was the foundation of their cultivation, so after recovering, they looked much more energetic. After doing this, their favorability towards him skyrocketed, causing him to be stunned. In just 2 short actions, their favorability towards him had soared past 100. Helping in a desperate situation naturally increased their favorability. Good lad, looks like you are quite sensible. This way, they will be very supportive of you becoming the Spirit King. Yi Qingxian transmitted her voice to Yi Tianyun. Yi Tianyun shrugged his shoulders helplessly. When he did this, he didn't think too much. He just felt that they needed medicinal pills to replenish their spiritual power, especially the children. He didn't expect that he would increase their favorability by so much. This was unexpected, but after thinking about it carefully, it was very normal for such a situation to occur. Then, he helped to undo the shackles on their bodies. They only needed the badge to open them, so he didn't need to do much. With a light touch, he removed the divine patterns on them, and the shackles were easily unlocked. Saintus, the old ancestor has been taken over there, and we don't know what's going on. Hurry up and save him. One of the spirit clan members hurriedly said. We will go over now. You guys stay here for the time being. Recover your bodies, and we will take you away later. Yi Qingxian ordered. They all nodded, then squatted down nearby to check the situation. As long as it wasn't a very strong guard, they could easily deal with it in their current state. The 2 of them looked at each other, then quickly rushed forward. After turning a few corners, they heard a cold scolding, "Old man, I didn't expect you to be so stubborn. Even with such a strong poison, you didn't lose consciousness. As expected of the old ancestor of the spirit clan. Your cultivation is high, but in front of me, aren't you still at my mercy?" When they looked over, they immediately saw an old man nailed to the wall. His body was pitch black, and he was constantly trembling. However, there was no sign of pain in his eyes. Everything was so calm and peaceful. Feng Wuyun, just give up. I can't let you find out the secret of the spirit clan. Do you think this poison can make me lose consciousness and let you search my soul? You are too naive. The spirit clan old ancestor snorted coldly. His tone was not very calm, but it was obvious that he could still hold on. His cultivation was at the void spirit stage, or rather, it should be said that he used to be at the spirit king stage, but because of his old age, his cultivation had declined. However, he was still an amazing existence. If he hadn't been plotted against, how could he have fallen to this point? It was easy to dodge an arrow in the open, but difficult to guard against an arrow in the dark. No matter how high one's cultivation was, there was a corresponding way to restrain it. What a joke! Let's see how long you can hold on. Feng Wuyun sneered, then took out a bottle of poison and was about to pour it into the spirit clan old ancestor's mouth. Feng Wuyun, how dare you! At this time, Yi Qingxian quickly rushed out and stood outside the cage, looking at Feng Wuyun coldly. Feng Wuyun and the spirit race patriarch were both locked in the cage. Not to mention the spirit race patriarch, even Feng Wuyun could not come out. He stayed in there to steal their memories. If he wanted to come out, he would have to wait for General Long to open the door. Chapter 314. If they want to save people, they have to open the door. No matter how fast they open the door, they will be seen. But there is no one around, so even if they are exposed, there is no problem. They are just afraid of releasing a distress signal. When Feng Wuyun saw Yi Qingxian, he was startled at first, then he smiled and said, "Oh, I was wondering who it was, so it is the Saintess. I didn't expect you to sneak in, you have some skill. You also have a human with you, it seems like you found a helper." Saintess. When the spirit race ancestor saw Yi Qingxian, he hurriedly said, "Quickly leave, you can't open this door, quickly leave, he will inform General Long later, TSK, what's the rush, I am not in a rush to inform General Long." Feng Wuyun took out a jade pendant and said with sneer, "As long as I crush this jade pendant, all the guards of the Netherworld prison will be mobilized, you will not be able to escape even if you have wings. But there is no rush, I will play with you first, let you see this old man's painful expression, it is very fun." Feng Wuyun laughed loudly and prepared to pour poison into the spirit race ancestor's mouth. "Stop, you traitor!" Yi Qingxian hurriedly shouted. Feng Wuyun is an elder of the spirit race, he betrayed the spirit race together with Lei Yun, he is here to search the spirit race ancestor's memories. But he has not succeeded, so he can only slowly poison the spirit race ancestor to weaken his mental power. But he is too strong, the poison has not weakened even after so long. If his mental power is too strong, using the soul-searching technique will instead cause him to become a fool. "Stop. If you want me to stop, come in if you have the ability." Feng Wuyun said with a very despicable smile, "You can't come in, right? You don't even have the key, how can you come in? So what if you have the key, as long as I crush this jade pendant, don't talk about saving people, you will not be able to escape." Ha ha ha. He laughed heartily. He felt that everything was so laughable. He felt that everything they had done was futile. They can only watch helplessly as they torture the spirit race ancestor, unable to save him, this twisted thinking is disgusting. "Who said we can't come in?" A silhouette appeared behind him and grabbed his arm that was holding the jade pendant. With a quick pull, the entire arm was broken. Following that, the jade pendant fell to the ground and was caught by Yi Tianyun. Immediately after, he fiercely kicked Feng Wuyun. With a dong sound, Feng Wuyun was sent flying into the wall, and a large part of his body caved in. This kick was so fast that it almost killed him. If not for the fact that Feng Wuyun's cultivation was higher, he would have been kicked to death. Yi Tianyun really wants to kick him to death with this cheap look. Feng Wuyun's face was pale. Looking at Yi Tianyun, he revealed a terrified expression. How did you get in?" Yi Qingxian and the old ancestor of the spirit tribe were shocked. They didn't see what was going on, but Yi Tianyun had already entered. Yi Qingxian remembered that Yi Tianyun could teleport, but could teleportation be used in this cage? This cage was restricted by the divine runes, so teleportation was impossible. However, Yi Tianyun did it. He easily entered and even seriously injured Feng Wuyun with a kick. Yi Tianyun's mental energy is very strong. As long as he can see the situation inside with his naked eye, he can teleport in, ignoring the restrictions of the divine runes. If he didn't know the situation and structure inside, he really wouldn't be able to teleport in. As long as he can see clearly and know the situation inside, he can teleport in. To put it bluntly, as long as he has a fixed position, he can teleport in. How can I come in? I just walked in. Yi Tianyun looked at him coldly. Immediately after, he took out the emblem and flicked it outside. It fell into Yi Qingshuan's hand. After receiving it, Yi Qingxian immediately inserted it into the groove and successfully opened the cage. This key was universal and could be used to open all the cages in the Spirit Forbidden Zone. The rest couldn't be opened. You still have the key. Could it be that General Long? Feng Wuyun looked at the key in Yi Qingshuan's hand in shock. He couldn't believe that it would appear in their hands. There are only two keys, one is in the hands of the Netherworld Emperor, and the other is in the hands of General Long. The Netherworld Emperor was killed, which is impossible. From the looks of it, General Long must have been killed. This is just wishful thinking on his part. The thing that the system dropped is equivalent to the third key. Under normal circumstances, there are only two keys. In the next moment, Feng Wuyun slapped the ground with one hand and his whole body swept to the side. He flew towards the exit. Yi Tianyun's speed is faster than him. He blocked Feng Wuyun with one hand and kicked him. Dong! Feng Wuyun was kicked away like a ball. Feng Wuyun's cultivation is not low. He is at the 5th level of the core transformation stage. However, in front of Yi Tianyun, he is too weak. Where do you want to go? Yi Tianyun picked up the poison that fell on the ground. He grabbed Feng Wuyun and poured the poison into his mouth. Enjoy this poison. Feel how strong it is. As soon as the poison entered his stomach, Feng Wuyun screamed in pain. He grabbed his head and twisted it. It was as if something has pierced his head. The old ancestor of the spirit race can still speak normally. One can imagine how strong his willpower is. As an old ancestor of the spirit race, he has experienced too many things. He can endure this little pain. Most importantly, he knows that he can't relax. If the secret is exposed, it is equivalent to half of the spirit race being destroyed. Qingxian, how do we deal with him? Yi Tianyun asked. Yi Qingxian had already used her actions to answer. She took out her silver whip and fiercely lashed at Feng Wuyun's body. With a "pa" sound, the tyrannical silver whip hit Feng Wuyun. Ice instantly froze his body, and after a few consecutive lashes, Feng Wuyun's skin and flesh were lacerated. However, he was not lashed to death. She used the silver whip to bind him, making him unable to move. After 2 strikes from Yi Tianyun, Feng Wuyun was seriously injured and unable to move. Yi Tianyun's moves are getting more and more skillful. After 2 strikes, Feng Wuyun's bones have been shattered. Feng Wuyun can't move anymore. After a few more strikes from Yi Qingxian, Feng Wuyun is on the verge of death. Chapter 315. Ancestor, how do you feel now? After the elder ancestor was put down, he was still able to look at them with a calm gaze. This was already quite impressive. It's fine. Hurry up and leave this place. If you continue to stay here, it will be troublesome if you are discovered. The old ancestor's words were intermittent and weak. It was already amazing that he could even speak. If it was any other cultivator, they would have been dead by now. The reason why the ancestor could hold on for so long was because of his cultivation and mental power. But ancestor, you. Yi Qingxian couldn't let the ancestor go. I can't hold on any longer. It's useless to save me. Just give me a quick death so that I can have some dignity, the ancestor said with a kind smile. He felt that he couldn't hold on any longer. After being tortured for so long, the poison had already taken root in his body. Even if he left this place, he wouldn't be able to live for long. How is that possible? We just need to find a good alchemist to get rid of the poison. Yi Qingxian shook her head. She didn't want to abandon the ancestor. This is a special poison pill from the Netherworld Empire. There is no antidote for it. It's very difficult to find an antidote for it. The ancestor shook his head. The recipe for this kind of poison pill was usually in the hands of the most important people. It was very difficult to get it back. This. Yi Qingshuan's eyes turned red. This ancestor had been taking care of her for a long time. He was like her family. How could she give him up like this? That's right. Feng Wuyun must have an antidote pill on him. Yi Qingxian quickly got up and went to Feng Wuyun's storage ring. She took it off and searched for the antidote pill inside the storage ring. Soon, she found the antidote pill. However, it wasn't a pill that could completely remove the poison. It was just a temporary antidote pill. Ha ha ha. You want an antidote pill? Impossible. You think that's an antidote pill? That's just my antidote pill. That old man is dead. Feng Wuyun laughed bitterly. He knew that he was going to die, but he didn't want to let them live a good life. This antidote pill was Feng Wuyun's own antidote pill. It was a temporary antidote for the poison pills that were controlled by him. Obviously, Feng Wuyun was also controlled by him. He didn't completely trust him. Speak. Where is the antidote pill? Yi Qingxian grabbed Feng Wuyun and made him tell her where the antidote pill was. Cough cough cough. The real antidote formula is with the Imperial Preceptor. If you have the ability, then snatch it, ha ha ha. Otherwise, this old fellow is dead for sure. Feng Wuyun was not stingy at all in revealing the secret, he just wanted them to die. One could well imagine how powerful the Imperial Advisor was. He was definitely in existence even more powerful than General Long. If one were to recklessly go and seize the pill recipe, it would be a dead end. Moreover, the state preceptor usually stayed in the capital of the Netherworld, where the security was the strictest. In addition, the state preceptor was extremely strong, so it was tantamount to sending a sheep into a tiger's mouth. Don't worry, let me see what kind of poison it is. Yi Tianyun extracted a bit of blood from the old ancestor's wound and used the appraisal eye to analyze the poison within. Very quickly, the poison was analyzed. This situation was the same as what had happened to Institute Lordly. Both of them had been poisoned, and he had used the appraisal eye to analyze it. Then, he was able to concoct the perfect antidote. Not long after the analysis, a message popped up. Unable to analyze the poison, this. Yi Tianyun suddenly knows that the poison is more difficult to analyze, he's afraid that it's a higher-level spirit medicine, so the appraisal eye can't analyze it. Upgrade the appraisal eye. Without hesitation, he chose to upgrade the appraisal eye. Now that the appraisal eye was only at level 2, it was necessary to upgrade it. Ding, consumed 500,000 crazy point. Successfully upgraded appraisal eye to level 3, the next level requires 10 million crazy point. Ding, appraisal eye upgraded to level 3, additional class, race details added. Analysis of martial art, divine rune, great array, pill leveled up, the speed of inspection increased by 100%. After successfully upgrading the appraisal eye, whether it was the speed or the recognition rate, all of a sudden improved. Ding, successfully identified the poison effect. The poison pill name is Soul Devouring Pill. The materials are 50g of love flower, 50g of human face grass, 50g of heart eroding grass. Everything was analyzed one by one. The analysis speed was quite amazing. More detailed data was presented in front of him, so that he knew all the ingredients. Very good, I roughly understand. Yi Tianyun nodded, then quickly took out the purple fire divine furnace and prepared to start refining. Although the situation is urgent now, but Old Ancestor's poison is even more urgent. If he continues to rush, he won't be able to hold on for too long. He rummaged for a while and quickly found some elixirs, preparing to start refining. These miscellaneous spirit herbs, he can't say that they are very complete, but at least some of them are just right. Only a small part is in line. First I will refine a poison relief pill to make Old Ancestor a little more comfortable. Tianyun took out a pile of spirit herbs, threw them in, and activated crazy alchemy mode. Suddenly the speed of refining increased. After a while, it doesn't take too long for the pill to be successfully refined. It's done. Tianyun took out the antidote pill from the purple fire divine furnace and gave it to Yi Qingxian. Let the ancestor consume it. This is a temporary relief. If you want to really cure the poison, the number of spirit medicines is not enough. After we go, we will completely clear the poison in the ancestor's body. Impossible. How do you know the pill formula? Could it be that you casually refined it? Ha ha ha, if we were to casually refine an antidote pill, not only would we not be able to save this old fellow, we would instead cause his death. Even though Feng Wuyun was heavily injured and unable to move, he did not forget to ridicule him. Yi Qingxian did not hesitate. She picked up the pill and fed it to the ancestor. The ancestor didn't say anything more and just ate it. Since he was going to die anyway, so what if he was trying to save a dead horse? After the ancestor consumed it, his complexion quickly improved, and the black qi on his body began to be suppressed. His originally trembling body greatly improved, and he no longer continued to tremble. I feel that my condition is much better. The feeling of my soul being torn apart has slowed down a lot. This was not nonsense, his tone could be heard, it had become very stable. Feng Wuyun, who was at the side, was dumbfounded. He did not expect it to really work. It's good that there's no problem. Qingxian, prepare to escape with the ancestor. I'll be in charge of opening the way. Yi Tianyun said in a deep voice. Chapter 316. After the spirit race old ancestor took the detoxification pill, he felt much better. If it weren't for his severe injuries, he would have been able to move. As for Feng Wuyun, before they left, Yi Qingxian personally killed the traitor. Yi Qingxian spared his life because she wanted to ask him some questions. Since she couldn't get anything out of him, the traitor must die. Ding! Successfully killed Feng Wuyun. Reward, 370. 000 EXP, 4. 500 Crazy Point, 250 SPS, 1500 Divine Rune Proficiency Points. Obtained Martial Art Heavenly Spirit Step, Spirit Breaking Finger. Obtained Soul Breaking Pen, High Grade Soul Tool, Tyrant Rune Paper, Rare. He didn't need to kill Feng Wuyun. Yi Tianyun can get EXP. He had already calculated this, so when Yi Qingxian killed the traitor, he activated the crazy EXP mode. This bit of experience couldn't be wasted. Many a little makes a mickle. This tyrant rune paper is really a lot. I can use it to open a path. Yi Tianyun's eyes lit up. He has obtained this tyrant rune paper, but he didn't use it much. This is a rare item. He didn't pay much attention to it before, but now after a little check, he was immediately shocked. Tyrant rune paper greatly increases the success rate of carving, and triples the effect. It's a very simple and crude effect, especially the triples effect, which is unimaginable in the divine rune world. They are all based on how much it can be enhanced, not how many times it can be enhanced. How many times stronger would it be? The higher the grade of the divine imprint, the stronger the effect. It's just that the difficulty is amazing. Yi Tianyun carved 4 divine runes before, the difficulty has increased by leaps and bounds. These require a high level of proficiency to carve, otherwise, it's impossible to carve. Now this tyrant rune paper is so simple and crude, no matter what kind of divine rune is carved, it directly increases the effect by 3 times. No wonder it's called a rare item. This tyrant rune paper is enough to set off a bloody storm in the divine rune world. Immediately, he took out a piece of tyrant rune paper and carved divine rune on it. The difficulty is not high, it's just a third-grade divine rune. But he didn't just carve, he carves multiple divine runes. The most important thing was that he was drawing as he walked, not wasting any time at all. Are you inscribing injury-type divine inscriptions? Yi Qingxian was stunned. Inscribing injury-type divine inscriptions at this moment? The spirit race patriarch next to him was already able to walk. He might not be able to run, but at least he could walk. When he saw Yi Tianyun inscribing divine runes on his back, he took a quick glance. Yes, I don't have any divine runes on my weapon, so I want to draw a damage-type divine rune to increase its effects. Yi Tianyun wanted to stick this damage rune on the frost divine bow. This way, he would be able to greatly increase the damage. Attacking from afar was better than attacking from close range. This way, he could kill everything in an instant from such a distance. It was definitely a great weapon to open up a path. Do you want us to wait for you? Yi Qingxian asked. There's no need for that. I'll finish it quickly. In the next moment, Yi Tianyun immediately activated Crazy Divine Rune Mode, instantly increasing the speed of drawing by 8 times. Berserk Mode was able to enhance almost all situations. Other than a few, it was able to enhance most situations. Regardless of whether it was inscribing divine imprints, forging, or concocting pills, the speed would be increased by 8 times. Swish! In an instant, he grabbed the soul-breaking brush that had dropped earlier and started drawing at an extremely fast speed. This left them dumbfounded. This speed was simply too fast. In the blink of an eye, a third-grade damage-type divine rune was completed. However, this was not the end. He continued to draw. In the blink of an eye, the third-grade divine rune had been added to the list. Following that, he continued to draw the second level. He drew circle after circle, faster and faster. Moreover, his success rate was not a problem at all. In just a short while, he had reached the 5th level of the third-grade divine rune. He was preparing to draw the 6th level. When they saw this, they could not help but gasp. Even if it was so fast, the success rate was so stable. The answer was so stable. With the heaven-defying effects of the tyrant rune paper, the success rate was quite shocking. Even when drawing the 6th level, he still had an 80% success rate. It was quite heaven-defying. Previously, the success rate was 100%. From now on, it was only dropping. He's already at the 6th level. The difficulty is no less than that of a Grandmaster-level divine rune, right? Yi Qingxian was somewhat speechless. Yes, where did this young friend come from? He has reached such a level at such a young age. Even our spirit race is inferior to him. The spirit race patriarch's eyes flashed with a strange light. Well, it's a long story. Yi Qingxian did not know where to start. If he could get the patriarch's help, the position of Spirit King would be much easier. Yes, this young friend is not bad. It would be great if he was from our spirit race. The spirit race patriarch shook his head. Just as he was about to say something, he discovered that Yi Tianyun had successfully inscribed the 6th level of the divine rune. He was preparing to continue with the 7th level. There were a total of 9 levels of divine runes. This was the same principle as alchemy. There were a total of 9 levels, and the higher the level, the more difficult it was. Now that he was already at the 7th level, the success rate had dropped to 50%. Originally, he wanted to use the Heaven's Eye to increase the success rate, but after thinking about it, he gave up. Forget it, I'll go with the 6th level. The bonus is enough. Only then did Yi Tianyun stop. Both of them heaved a sigh of relief. If he could continue to inscribe, it would be really powerful. Even the spirit race patriarch would find it difficult to successfully inscribe the 7th level of a 3rd-grade divine rune. 6 levels of 3rd-grade divine runes. This is already heaven-defying. There's a 70% bonus effect. Yi Qingxian exclaimed. The patriarch beside her also agreed. He felt that this was already very heaven-defying. Yi Tianyun smiled and did not say anything. Under normal circumstances, there was indeed a 70% bonus effect. However, with the addition of the Tyrant Rune paper, it became a 1% bonus. He took out the Ice Divine Bow and stuck the Tyrant Rune paper on it. The Divine Runes quickly merged with the bow. Combined with the previous double damage effect, it became a quadruple damage increase. Let's go. I'll lead the way. Yi Tianyun nodded and walked forward with them. Just after they turned a corner, they heard the sound of fighting coming from the front. They were shocked and quickly rushed over. They were shocked to see the guards fighting with the spirit race. The spirit race was barely able to resist, but there was no way they could fight back. At this time, Yi Tianyun's eyes were cold, and he quickly raised the Ice Divine Bow in his hand and pulled it, and 3 arrows shot out. The arrows pierced the 3 guards in front of him and nailed them to the wall. Then, they were quickly frozen, and they couldn't be more dead. Chapter 3:17. 3 arrows instantly killed the guards. Then, he quickly pulled the Ice Divine Bow to the fullest, and 3 more arrows appeared on the bowstring. In the blink of an eye, he shot the arrows again and nailed the guards to the wall. In an instant, 6 guards were killed. 2 of them were in the spirit core stage, but they were pierced by the arrows. Yi Tianyun instantly killed all the guards, which attracted the attention of the spirit race. When they saw Yi Tianyun who suddenly appeared to help them, their eyes were filled with surprise and gratitude. It's the old ancestor. When they saw the old ancestor of the spirit clan, they were all surprised. After all, when they saw that their old ancestor was fine and could still walk, they were relieved. At least they didn't see his body. It didn't matter if he was injured, they were afraid that they would never see him again. They all gathered to care about the old ancestor's condition. One could imagine how high the old ancestor's prestige in the spirit clan was. Everyone, we are ready to kill our way out. You all follow behind me and I will lead the way. Let's kill our way out together. Yi Tianyun raised the Ice Divine Bow in his hand and glanced at them, indicating that they should listen to him. Okay, let's kill our way out together. They all roared, full of vigor. Yi Tianyun's performance just now gave them too many surprises, giving them enough hope. Yi Tianyun's appeal was extraordinary, and it immediately drove their momentum. Then, without saying much, he nodded to Yi Qingxian and rushed forward, rushing out of the passage. The spirit clan behind him quickly followed, and Yi Qingxian chose to stay at the back to protect the situation. Under the leadership of Yi Tianyun, they quickly rushed out. After a period of adjustment, their situation had greatly improved, and ordinary battles were not a problem. Why did you come out? Immediately, the guards in the distance saw the situation, and when they saw a group of Spirit Clan people rushing over, they were all shocked. The Spirit Clan people were locked in a cage, and even they didn't have the keys. Now that they had rushed out, they were all shocked. When they wanted to call for help, a few ice arrows pierced through them and nailed them to the wall. Then, they were quickly frozen into ice sculptures. Even if the arrow pierced through them and didn't kill them, the terrifying freezing power was enough to freeze them to death. Ding! Successfully killed the guard. Reward, 250. 000 EXP, 3440 Crazy Point, 150 SPS. He had obtained Dragon Soul Slash and Ferocious Tiger Fist. Items obtained, Sky Soul Blade, Low-Grade Soul Tool, Soul Driving Armor, Low-Grade Soul Tool. Ding! Successfully killed the guard, gained 160,000 experience. One by one, the guards were killed by him from afar. There was no difficulty at all. It was a piece of cake. He didn't even need to get close before he was nailed to the wall by the Ice Frost Divine Bow. The tyrannical power was unstoppable. Go! Yi Tianyun didn't stop and continued to lead them forward. When they arrived at the area where they were tortured, many guards looked over and were shocked by the situation. However, what greeted them was a cold arrow that nailed them to the wall. Run! Run! Ah! Call for help! Ah! Regardless of whether they tried to escape or rush over to resist, it was all meaningless. He could kill them one by one just by standing at the entrance of the passageway. Combined with his powerful mental power, no one could dodge his attacks, and he would definitely hit his target. After killing them, Yi Tianyun quickly searched for the keys on their bodies and released all the cultivators from the prison one by one. All the spirit race cultivators came to help Yi Tianyun. He rescued all the cultivators here and fed them medicinal pills to recover their strength. Thank you. Thank you. They were so grateful that they were about to cry. After being tortured for so long, they were finally freed. No need to thank me, let's rush out together. We haven't really escaped from here yet, so it's still dangerous. Yi Tianyun said to them. After they recovered their mobility, because they were tortured for so long, it was not convenient for them to move, but they could still follow behind Yi Tianyun. We know, at least there is hope, right? As long as we can escape, I will destroy the Netherworld Empire. Yes. Even if I die, I will fight against the Netherworld Empire until the end. When I was captured and tortured here, I thought that as long as I can get out of here, I will fight against the Netherworld Empire for the rest of my life. They were filled with righteous indignation and decided to fight against the Netherworld Empire for the rest of their lives. They had been tortured here for so long. If they had provoked the Netherworld Empire before, it would have been fine. But some of them had done nothing and were forced to come here. How could they not be angry? Alright, let's get out of here and save all the people who are imprisoned here. Yi Tianyun said. All of them nodded to show that they would follow his orders. There were many cultivators who were at the core transformation stage, but they had been tortured for so long and they were poisoned, so they couldn't even use half of their cultivation. But from the beginning, Yi Tianyun didn't use them as the main force. He just needed to rely on himself to get out of here. Following that, a group of people rushed out in a grandiose manner. As long as they saw a guard, they would shoot an arrow at it without saying a word, killing the guard. Soon, they arrived at the prison area. When they arrived, they could still hear angry roars from inside. You dogs of the Netherworld Empire! If I don't die, I will kill you all. Hee hee, you won't have this chance. Who can come here and save you? But don't think too much, I will kill you now, let's see how you get back at me. At this time, a figure appeared in the passage, followed by an ice arrow that nailed them to the ground or the wall. What's going on? When they saw a group of people rushing towards them, they were scared. How could so many people be released? By the time they reacted, it was already too late. They had completely bid farewell to this world. Open the cage here and let everyone out. Yi Tianyun said to the people who were dragged out of the prison. There were a lot of people in this prison, so it would take a long time for Yi Tianyun to open the cage alone. After they realized what was going on, they quickly found the keys from the guard's body and began to open the door. After the door was opened, the people inside rushed out and looked at Yi Tianyun with extreme gratitude. Thank you so much for your help, big hero. I am Wang Hu. My life is yours now. I will listen to your instructions from now on. Me too. My life is yours from now on. I will do whatever you want me to do. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Many people were so grateful to Wang Hu that they didn't know what to say. You don't need to thank me too much for now. We haven't completely escaped from here yet. Let's kill our way out. Yi Tianyun shouted. Kill our way out. Chapter 318. Yi Tianyun didn't say anything. After all the cultivators were rescued, they rushed out of the prison. Fortunately, these guards were not very flexible in reporting the situation. Obviously, they were in a safe state, so they didn't have any jade pendants with them. Therefore, they couldn't call for help in time. When the guards inside the Netherworld prison noticed them, they rushed out crazily. However, no matter how strong they were still at the core transformation stage. What's going on? Are they all released? In the hall outside the Netherworld prison, many guards were stunned when they saw a large group of cultivators rushing out of the Netherworld prison. They never thought that a group of cultivators would rush out of the Netherworld prison like this. Catch them all. We can't let them escape. Whoever resists will die. Whoever dares to resist will die. Inform the general, there is an emergency in the Netherworld prison. There were core transformation stage cultivators in the prison, and some of them were even the ministers in charge of the prison. They immediately took out their jade pendants and crushed them to send out a distress signal. Obviously, General Long wasn't here. If he had nothing to do, he wouldn't be here. Moreover, the Netherworld Empire had a lot of other things to deal with in addition to the spirit race, so there were a lot of things that they couldn't deal with. 3 core transformation stage powerhouses quickly rushed out and took out their most powerful weapons and attacked Tianyun fiercely. All of a sudden, they burst out with their strongest power. The murderous aura filled the entire hall. Many cultivators' faces changed dramatically. They felt very helpless in the face of core transformation stage cultivators. If they resisted, it would be a one-sided slaughter. While everyone's hearts were trembling, the 3 arrows had already pierced through their bodies in the blink of an eye, sending them flying backward. 2 of them were nailed to the wall, the cold air constantly eroding their bodies, freezing them up and rendering them unable to move at all. The other one was wearing a hard armor, so the arrow didn't penetrate his body. However, the impact of the arrow still sent him flying. He vomited blood and the cold air invaded his body, greatly reducing his movement speed. But before he could get up, an ice arrow pierced through his body and nailed him to the wall. His eyes widened as he stared at Tianyun. He didn't expect Tianyun's attack to be so casual. After all, he was wearing a high-grade soul armor, and was even reinforced with powerful divine imprints. Yet, he was still pierced through. The way he looked at Tianyun gradually became blurry, and then he completely lost consciousness. Tianyun looked at them coldly. If 1 arrow wasn't enough, then 2 arrows would be fired. After the Frost Divine Bow was imbued with the damage rune, it became 4 times the damage. He didn't even need to activate the crazy damage mode to be able to instantly kill everything. Just a casual arrow shot by him would have a battle prowess as high as 10 million. It was unstoppable. This scene shocked a lot of people. Before Tianyun killed a core condensation stage cultivator, the strongest spirit core stage cultivator, it was still acceptable for him to be instantly killed. Such a powerful core transformation stage cultivator was also killed by a single arrow. It was not difficult at all. This caused them to be dumbfounded. This was really killing gods and Buddhas if they encountered gods and Buddhas. What a terrifying power. With him here, how can we not escape? Yes, with this great hero here, we can definitely escape. All of them were excited, and the hope in their hearts was burning. They felt that they could get out of this damned place and successfully escape. They thought so, and so did Tianyun. With his current overbearing power, as long as it wasn't a void spirit stage cultivator, he could easily kill them. Then Tianyun continued to madly kill the guards. He shot a few arrows at them, and all of them were pierced by the arrows. The most shocking thing was that he quickly swept over and put away the storage rings they were wearing. This made Yiqingxian, who was at the back, roll her eyes. This guy doesn't forget to make money. Core transformation stage cultivator's net worth is not bad, how can he miss this opportunity? The old ancestor of the spirit race couldn't help but smile. He admired Tianyun's action very much. If I were him, I would also do the same. Cultivation needs a lot of resources, how can he waste them? Well, Yiqingxian certainly didn't have any objection to Tianyun's action. The problem was that in such an urgent situation, Yi Tianyun still didn't forget to make money. Yi Tianyun doesn't want to do this. If he wasn't so poor, and running a sect requires too many resources, he certainly wouldn't let go of any opportunity to get resources. Each and every core transformation stage cultivator was fat, so naturally, he wouldn't miss this opportunity. Along the way, Yi Tianyun and Yi Qingxian quickly killed their way to the exit. There weren't many guards at the exit. When they saw Yi Tianyun and Yi Qingxian rushing towards them, their faces changed, and they quickly prepared to block their attacks. However, they were too weak, so they were easily killed by Yi Tianyun and Yi Qingshuan's arrows. The gate is in front of us, we can go out as soon as we open the gate. Yi Tianyun shouted and took the lead to rush towards the gate. He opened the gate and pushed it open with all his might. Ga, the gate made a loud noise and began to open bit by bit. It had to be said that this thing was really heavy, and it took a lot of effort to push it open. Let's hurry and help the big hero open the gate. With a roar, they quickly rushed over and pushed the door open. With the help of many people, the speed of opening the gate suddenly increased a lot. When a big gap appeared, all the cultivators rushed out as if they saw the light of hope. We finally came out. We finally came out. After rushing out, they shouted loudly, greedily breathing the outside air, feeling that everything was so beautiful. It should be said that living was so beautiful. When a group of people swarmed out, at the same time, there was a roar coming from inside. Roar, roar, roar. It was like a dragon's roar, coming from the innermost part of the prison. Soon, the ground shook, as if a huge monster rushed out from inside. Go, go. Yi Qingxian commanded her people to escape from the back. There were too many people here. All the prisoners added up to thousands of people, so it was difficult to evacuate too quickly. At this time, a few huge beasts suddenly rushed out from the passage behind them. They looked like dragons, but they didn't have wings. Their bodies were covered in thick dragon scales, which looked very hard. They strode forward with their huge bodies and crazily pounced over. They were like a small mountain, stomping over fiercely. Earth Dragon, it's an Earth Dragon. Chapter 319. The Earth Dragon was a demonic beast with the bloodline of the Dragon clan, but it couldn't fly. It was mainly known for its strong defense, coupled with its huge physique. It was absolutely amazing when it fought. In addition, its cultivation was not weak, all of them were spirit core stage demonic beasts. Although it couldn't defeat a core transformation stage cultivator, it could at least resist. The 3 Earth Dragons were released, and they roared and rushed over. It was obvious that they had entered the killing mode regardless of the consequences. It was better to kill them all than to let them run away. Hurry up. Yi Qingshuan's face changed, and she signaled the clansmen in front of her to leave quickly. Seeing that almost all of her clansmen had left, there was still a small number of them who were a little slower. But the Earth Dragons had already rushed over, so they couldn't leave so fast. At this moment, she quickly took out several explosive flame talismans and threw them at the first Earth Dragon. They floated in the air for a while and stuck to its body. Boom! A burst of flame exploded on the Earth Dragon's body, and it was immediately blackened, but it didn't die. Only a small part of the dragon's scales was blown away, and a little blood flowed down. It was a minor injury. A terrifying defensive power immediately appeared. It could be seen just how heaven-defying its defensive power was. It was completely a moving shield. The power of these explosive flame divine talismans was not weak. Several of them were superimposed together, and the violent attack of at least a core transformation stage cultivator could only hurt the Earth Dragon's skin. Ha! You want to hurt the Earth Dragon with these explosive flame divine talismans? You are too naive. Crush them for me. There were 3 spirit core stage cultivators behind him, and they commanded the Earth Dragons to rush over and suppress the fugitives. It's the Dragon Soldier. Many people exclaimed when they saw the cultivators wearing dragon armor. This dragon soldier was the direct troops of General Long, and there was a team of troops that controlled the earth dragons. When they attacked any forces, they couldn't stop them at all. Every dragon soldier was equipped with an earth dragon, and it was absolutely an invincible army. Although the earth dragon was not a real divine beast, its terrifying defense was comparable to the real dragon clan. The most important thing was that there were enough of them, and their reproductive ability was much stronger than that of real dragons. Therefore, their numbers were not particularly rare, but the price was still extremely high. Only the Netherworld Empire could form a group of dragon army. Under the control of the dragon army, they could crush everything. There weren't many dragon soldiers that rushed up, only 3, but this was already very shocking. They didn't need to be very powerful, just purely crushing people to death was enough. He didn't expect that there would be a dragon soldier in the Netherworld prison. Roar! The injured earth dragon stimulated the wildness in its body. With a roar, it used its huge body to press down on Yi Qingxian. Its speed and strength were both extremely fierce. Yi Qingxian had a few more explosive flame talismans in her hands, ready to attack. She couldn't retreat, and there were still a small number of her clansmen behind her who hadn't escaped. She could only bite the bullet and fight. Saintess, don't worry about this place. Let's go. The old ancestor of the spirit race motioned for her to escape. He wanted to help, but he didn't have the strength to do so. It was already good enough that she could walk, let alone fight. Let them go first. Yi Qingxian bit her lips and threw out a few more explosive flame talismans, which instantly exploded on the body of the earth dragon. Boom, boom, boom. The sound of the explosion came again, but the speed of the earth dragon didn't slow down at all. The earth dragon was only shaken a little bit, but its huge body was still pressing down on her, trying to flatten her. Yi Qingxuan's face changed, and she quickly retreated to the side. But the speed of the earth dragon was much faster than her speed of escape. When she was about to take out a talisman and was ready to use it, a figure suddenly rushed over and fiercely collided with the earth dragon. Bang! The whole earth dragon was smashed away, and its chest was dented. The severe pain made the earth dragon roar in pain. Immediately, a red figure landed on the ground. It was Yi Tianyun. His whole body was covered with dragon scales, and the dragon god's bloodline burst out. He collided with the earth dragon head-on, and the very hard earth dragon was smashed away by him. This hardness is still not enough. Yi Tianyun snorted coldly, and quickly came to Yi Qingxuan's side, and said, "Quickly take them out, there are no guards outside." He took the lead to rush outside, and when he saw that it was safe outside, he came in to help. As soon as he came in, he saw the earth dragon pressing in this side, and instantly flew over. With the explosive speed of the phoenix wings, he immediately collided with the earth dragon. Yi Qingxian nodded, and quickly evacuated with the spirit clan, leaving the rear to Yi Tianyun. Where did this kid come from? So strong. When the dragon soldiers saw that Yi Tianyun was able to knock the earth dragon away, they were shocked. Few people would dare to fight with the earth dragon head-on, and now they saw one. Who cares, crush him for me. The other dragon soldiers didn't think too much. Seeing more and more cultivators escaping outside, they were also anxious. If General Long came back, they would be severely punished. Roar! After the earth dragon that had been smashed away slowed down, it rushed towards him again and roared angrily. With the bloodline of the dragon clan, it also attached great importance to its own dignity. After fighting with a human, it lost, how could it not be angry? Immediately, a pale yellow light flashed all over its body, and the dragon scales on its body thickened layer by layer. The power of the earth element surrounded the surface of its body, and it looked harder, and the sharp claws became sharper. All of a sudden, its combat power increased rapidly, and it became incomparably powerful, just like a cultivator burning his blood essence, greatly enhancing his own strength. Roar! The Earth Dragon rushed over without hesitation, and the other two Earth Dragons on the side also surrounded him, trying to trap him to death. At this time, many people outside noticed this side, and their hearts thumped, and they began to worry. Interesting, these demonic beasts are not bad. Tianyun originally wanted to summon the Black Dragon to fight with them, but seeing these Earth Dragons, he had some other ideas in his mind. Immediately, he suddenly stomped on the ground and rushed towards the Earth Dragon. In the blink of an eye, he flew to the head of the Earth Dragon, and then kicked it hard. Boom! The huge body of the Earth Dragon was immediately kicked to the ground, and with a loud bang, a few cracks appeared on the ground, and layers of air waves swept to the side. Even the hard dragon scales, under this fierce kick, were broken, and the whole Earth Dragon was beaten to the ground. This overbearing power, even after the eruption of the Earth Dragon, could not resist. Chapter 320. After Tianyun said that, he immediately activated the pet capture skill and began to capture the Earth Dragon. This Earth Dragon was a very good demon beast to open the way and also as a demon beast to guard the door. Since it came to him, he would not waste it. This was a relatively rare demon beast, so he would certainly not miss it. It was a good opportunity to test the pet capture skill. After casting it, the Earth Dragon that was being stepped on was enveloped by the light. The Earth Dragon struggled a little, but it couldn't break free. It was as if it was being suppressed by a force. Roar! The Earth Dragon struggled, but it was not as strong as Tianyun. It could only be suppressed and could not move. What's the situation? Something is wrong. Quickly let the other Earth Dragons attack him. Don't worry about my Earth Dragon, suppress him first. One of the dragon soldiers felt that something was wrong and quickly signaled his companion to attack. Okay, attack him. The dragon soldier immediately ordered his Earth Dragon to attack Tianyun. The two Earth Dragons that were originally guarding the side immediately obeyed their master's command and stepped on Tianyun. They did not care about their companion lying on the ground. They only listened to their master's command. Even if they were facing their own kind, they would still kill them. Successfully captured the demon beast Earth Dragon. Cultivation, Level 8 Spirit Core Stage, Potential, Grade 3. Ding! Congratulations to the player Tianyun for successfully capturing the Earth Dragon. The reward is 100,000 EXP, Pet Capture Proficiency plus 100 points. Sure enough, as long as he used this skill, he could get EXP, not to mention the proficiency. After successfully capturing him, the Earth Dragon no longer had any hostility towards him. It was completely friendly towards him. Very good, get up and resist them. Tianyun signaled the Earth Dragon under his feet to move. Following that, the Earth Dragon quickly climbed up, roared angrily at the two Earth Dragons that pounced on it and swatted at them. Bang bang! Under Tianyun's control, the power of the Earth Dragon doubled, and the two Earth Dragons that pounced on him were sent flying. This scene shocked them all. It was obviously the Dragon Soldier's Earth Dragon. How could it attack its own people? What's going on? Why is my Earth Dragon attacking? Stop! Stop! Hurry up and send that brat flying. The Dragon Soldier kept shouting at the side, but it was useless. The Earth Dragon did not listen to the Dragon Soldier at all and continued to fight with its own kind. Tianyun took advantage of this opportunity to fly forward and press down heavily from the air. Bang! Another Earth Dragon was pressed to the ground. Then, he used his capture skill and continued to capture this Earth Dragon. Another Earth Dragon rushed over, wanting to send Tianyun flying. However, the Earth Dragon controlled by Tianyun quickly counterattacked, sending the Earth Dragon flying. Following that, the two Earth Dragons started fighting each other, causing the entire hall to shake. Ding! Successfully caught the demonic beast, Earth Dragon. Cultivation, Level 9 Spirit Core Stage, Potential, Grade 3. Ding! Congratulations to player Yi Tianyun for successfully capturing an Earth Dragon. The reward is 130,000 experience points, pet capturing mastery plus 100 points. After successfully capturing another Earth Dragon belonged to him. Then, this Earth Dragon roared, and under the control of Yi Tianyun, it quickly rushed forward to help the other Earth Dragon. Bang! Under the suppression of two Earth Dragons, the remaining Earth Dragon was pressed to the ground and could not move. Yi Tianyun quickly flew over and immediately used his capture skill. Soon, the Earth Dragon was also captured, and Yi Tianyun gained experience points and proficiency. What's going on? My Earth Dragon is also out of control. How did he do it? Is he a beast tamer? Impossible. How could he be a beast tamer? The three dragon soldiers were stunned. Their Earth Dragon was subdued, so how could they still be called dragon soldiers? They could only be ordinary spirit core stage cultivators. Immediately, they looked at each other and saw the anger in each other's eyes. They took out their spears and rushed towards Yi Tianyun. Give me back my Earth Dragon. They roared and rushed towards Yi Tianyun. They thought that their Earth Dragon would be able to suppress Yi Tianyun, but they didn't expect that their Earth Dragon would be subdued by Yi Tianyun. Give it back. Yi Tianyun smiled and said, then I will give it back to you. He stretched out his hand and pointed forward. The three Earth Dragons roared and pounced towards the three dragon soldiers. The three huge bodies covered the entire palace. No! Don't come over. The dragon soldiers were pale, their cultivation level was almost the same as the Earth Dragon. Under the fierce attack, the spear couldn't penetrate even a little bit. Soon after, they were heavily pressed down, flattening the three dragon soldiers. Ding! Successfully killed dragon soldier, gained 280. 000 EXP, 3700 crazy point, 150 SPS, obtained martial arts dominating cloud pierce, soaring cloud strike. Item obtained, Earth Dragon Spear, mid-grade soul tool, Earth Dragon Armor, low-grade soul tool. Ding! Successfully killed dragon soldier, gained 270. 000 EXP, 3600 crazy point, 150 SPS, the three dragon soldiers were easily trampled to death. If a cultivator of the same level faced a demon beast of the same level, as long as they are not heaven-defying, they will basically be crushed to death. This scene fell into the eyes of many cultivators behind them, they were deeply shocked, even Yi Qingxian was shocked. In just a short time, the three Earth Dragons were subdued, and they were crushed to death by Yi Tianyun's Earth Dragon. Very good, come back. Yi Tianyun rushed out with the three Earth Dragons and smashed the door that was not opened, stopping them outside. At this time, many cultivators outside have already fled in all directions, they didn't stay here. General Long will come back at any time, so it is the best choice to leave as soon as possible. All of you, get on this Earth Dragon and run away. Yi Tianyun signaled the people of Spirit Race to ride on the Earth Dragon, they did not hesitate and climbed on the Earth Dragon one after another. This Earth Dragon is very large, it can accommodate dozens of people at a time, it is indeed not enough, but most of the people with serious injuries can sit on it, so they can escape first. If the problem is not big, they can just follow behind. Qingxian, you go first, I made them listen to your command. Yi Tianyun signaled Yi Qingxian to quickly take the people away. What about you? Yi Qingxian looked at him and said. I will completely flatten this place. Yi Tianyun said coldly. Chapter 321. You want to destroy this place? Yi Qingxian said hurriedly, it's very difficult to destroy the divine inscriptions in the Netherworld prison. If we don't destroy the divine inscriptions, we won't be able to destroy the Netherworld prison. Moreover, if General Long comes, what will you do? Yi Qingshuan's eyes were filled with worry. She felt that Yi Tianyun was courting death. She knew that Yi Tianyun's cultivation was not weak, but he was courting death by going in alone. If he was surrounded, it would be impossible for him to escape. Do you think I can't escape? Yi Tianyun smiled indifferently and said, as long as the Netherworld prison is here, it will continue to imprison cultivators. I know that destroying the Netherworld Empire is the only way to solve the problem. But first, we can destroy the Netherworld prison. That way, we can destroy the Netherworld Empire. As for the divine inscriptions, don't worry. I can destroy them. I believe you know this. He was a divine inscription master, so he had a good understanding of the divine inscriptions in the Netherworld prison. But Yi Qingxian was still worried about his safety. She was afraid that he would not come back. If this little friend wants to go, then let him go. The spirit race's old ancestor stretched out his finger and pointed at Yi Tianyun's head. This is the divine inscription memory that I gave you. It can easily destroy the divine inscriptions. I hope it will be of help to you. Thank you, old ancestor. After Yi Tianyun examined the memory, he found that it was different from the one Yi Qingxian gave him. It was completely focused on breaking the Tao of divine runes, which were similar to array formations. After saying that, Yi Tianyun nodded to Yi Qingxian and turned around to leave. I will wait for you to come back. Yi Qingxian shouted. Yi Tianyun's body shook. This familiar scene reminded him of Shi Xueyan. She also said the same thing to him. Then he turned around and smiled, I will. I will definitely come back. After saying that, he flew forward. Yi Qingxian did not hesitate. She immediately controlled the earth dragons and left the Netherworld prison. If he stayed here, he would be discovered sooner or later. As these earth dragons ran at top speed, they quickly disappeared into the horizon. Although these earth dragons could not fly, their running speed on the ground was not slow at all. Yi Tianyun immediately returned to the Netherworld prison. He held the Ice Frost Divine Bow tightly in his hand and attacked again. When the guards saw Yi Tianyun charging back, they were scared out of their wits. What's going on? This killing god is back. When the guard who had run back saw Yi Tianyun, he hurriedly tried to close the door. However, the door was too thick, and it wasn't easy to close. The door didn't even close for long before Yi Tianyun condensed a thick ice arrow in his hand. His eyes flashed with a blue light. Ice Fury. He aimed at the hall and shot it out. A blue beam of light pierced out and finally exploded in the main hall. Boom! It was as if a berserk blizzard had exploded inside, freezing all the guards inside and turning them into ice sculptures in an instant. Even if he quickly melted the ice, it would be meaningless. He had already frozen to death. From head to toe, even his bone marrow had been frozen by the extreme cold ice. He couldn't be any more dead than he already was. Ding, successfully killed a guard. Reward, 170. 000 EXP, 2300 Crazy Point, 100 SPS, obtained Martial Art Heavenly Cloud Palm, Heavenly Cloud Step. Obtained Black Iron Sword, Recovery Pill. Ding, successfully killed a guard. Reward, ding, under the arrow, all the guards were killed, and a lot of EXP and SPS were dropped. Their sin value was absolutely high, even higher than the elders he had killed before. One could imagine how many ruthless things these guards had done. Even if they were instructed by the Netherworld Empire to do so, at least the sin was imposed on them. In the blink of an eye, Yi Tianyun successfully entered the Netherworld prison. A large part of the prison was frozen, but he didn't look back and continued to rush inside. He glanced at the divine rune on the wall, and a dazzling light flashed in his hand. He jumped up and fiercely poked the divine rune a few times. Every poke was very powerful. After poking 100 times, the divine rune on the wall immediately dissipated. This is the way to break the divine rune given by the spirit race old ancestor. He was the one who carved the divine rune here, so how could he not know the problem? So it wasn't difficult to break the divine rune here. The most important thing is that his level is amazing. Otherwise, even if he knew the way to break the divine rune here, he wouldn't be able to easily break it. After breaking the divine rune here, he quickly rushed to the other side and poked 100 times in a row, and the divine rune immediately disappeared. For someone at his level, poking 100 times in a row doesn't take long, it only takes a few seconds to break the divine rune. As such, his speed was extremely fast. If the spirit race were here, they would definitely be shocked. His movements were so clean and efficient that it was rare to see him. Go! After Yi Tianyun landed on the ground, he quickly took out the ice divine bow and aimed at the broken divine rune on the wall. Yi Tianyun pulled the longbow and shot 3 arrows at the wall in a frenzy. The wall immediately collapsed. Without the support of the divine rune, although the wall is strong, it still collapsed under such a powerful attack. Boom! He destroyed half of the entrance outside the gate, which made him feel very satisfied. Very good, as long as there are no more divine runes, this place is as weak as tofu. Yi Tianyun didn't continue to destroy the wall, but quickly rushed inside. Along the way, he destroyed the divine rune on the wall, breaking it easily. No matter what, he is a divine rune master. After knowing the way to break the divine rune, it was naturally easy for him to destroy it. As he rushed in, a steady stream of guards came over. They seemed to come from the underground of the Nether prison. Obviously, there is an underground area in the Nether prison. Yi Qingxian and the others didn't know about this. It is very likely that they only dug down later, otherwise they would have known about it. What's the situation outside? What exactly happened? Guards quickly rushed up, but what greeted them was the ice arrows, freezing them into ice sculptures. Yi Tianyun killed his way in, and soon arrived at the stairs that led underground. It was quite spacious. There is an underground passage here, I didn't know about it before, I wonder what is down there. Yi Tianyun rushed down without hesitation, and soon reached the underground. What came into view was an extremely spacious place, a huge mine. Chapter 322. In the huge mine in front of him, there were a lot of cultivators mining day and night. Everyone had shackles on their feet, and even in this state, they still had to work hard to mine. Their cultivation was not low, all of them were at the core condensation stage, the lowest was at the spirit refinement stage, so it was obviously much more efficient for them to mine. There were at least thousands of cultivators imprisoned here. He didn't expect that there would be such a large number of cultivators hidden here. They had rescued many people before. Some of them had been imprisoned in the alchemy room or the forging room, and they had rescued them all. However, this place was the only place that they had not rescued. God knows that there would be a mine here, but he didn't expect that there would be such a huge mine under the Netherworld prison. Yi Tianyun looked around and saw that the resources here were quite rich. After upgrading the appraisal eye, it will be easier for him to analyze the materials. Even if he didn't know what the materials were, he can easily find them. Jade Spirit Stone, most of the Jade Spirit Stones weigh more than 50 kilograms. Preliminary estimation of the remaining resources is more than 1,000,000 kilograms. Black iron ore, essential material to forge soul tools. Preliminary estimation of the remaining resources is more than 10 million kilograms. Purple crystal ore, essential material to forge heaven-level weapons. Preliminary estimation of the remaining resources is more than 100 kilograms. Cloud gold soil, essential material to refine level 5 elixirs. Can increase the success rate of refining elixirs. Preliminary estimation of the remaining resources is more than 10,000 kilograms. At a glance, all the names of the materials, and even the approximate amount of the remaining resources can be easily determined. Although it is not very accurate, the approximate amount is estimated. Among them, purple crystal ore and cloud gold soil are the most precious, and the remaining resources are even less. He didn't expect that there would be so many resources in this mine, no wonder they captured so many cultivators. In addition to mining, they can also use the materials here to refine weapons or elixirs. There are a lot of jade spirit stones. If he can dig them all out, then he will be rich. But these things are not so easy to dig, they are very hard, it is too difficult to dig them out. Therefore, the miners couldn't be ordinary people, they must have good cultivation. The Netherworld Empire captured them and forced them to work in the mines without paying any compensation. Hurry up, don't be lazy. It seems that something happened up there. Should we go and take a look? What can happen? Just let the others go up. Who dares to break into our Netherworld prison? They all shook their heads and couldn't be bothered with him. Instead, they lashed out with their whips again and again, heavily lashing the cultivators in front of them. Regardless of whether they were slacking off or not, they would lash out at those who were not pleasing to their eyes. If he was beaten to death, he would be dragged away without any sympathy. These cultivators came in batches and batches, and there was no need to worry about the lack of people. Give me the antidote, give me the antidote. At this moment, a cultivator suddenly got poisoned. He lay on the ground and twisted his body. He stretched out his hand in agony, gesturing for them to give him the antidote. However, the guards couldn't be bothered to go over. They continued to stand there and watch. They couldn't even be bothered to take another look. The poison over there has flared up. Aren't you going to feed him pills? I'm too lazy to go over. If he wants to take the pill, then let him crawl over himself. If he doesn't want to eat it, then so be it. The guard shrugged his shoulders, feeling that it didn't matter. After all, he wasn't the one who was poisoned. Is that so? Then why don't you try eating a few pills? A ghostly voice sounded beside them, causing them to turn their heads in anger. Just as they were about to lash out with their whips, 2 ice arrows pierced through their bodies. They didn't even see Yi Tianyun's face clearly before they completely lost consciousness. Yi Tianyun picked up the antidote from their corpses and immediately threw it to the cultivators so that they could consume it. That cultivator climbed up with difficulty. His body trembled as he picked up the antidote and put it into his mouth. After consuming it, his condition immediately improved greatly. It wasn't as painful as before. Yi Tianyun shook his head. This so-called antidote could only temporarily slow down the poison. As time passed, their condition would worsen and they would die in the end. Who exactly are you? The guards at the side ruthlessly lashed out with their whips. However, the ice arrows had already pierced through their bodies and sealed their mouths for eternity. This scene was witnessed by all the cultivators. They all stopped what they were doing and looked at him in a daze. They didn't know what to say. Now that you are all free, search these guards for the keys to unlock your own shackles. Prepare to kill our way out with me. Yi Tianyun shouted loudly. His voice echoed throughout the entire mine. Soon after, they reacted. As if they had gone mad, they quickly pounced on the guards and began to search for the keys. However, many of the cultivators didn't plan to escape. Their eyes were still filled with despair. What are you waiting for? Aren't you going to escape? Escape? Do you think we can survive if we escape? We don't even have antidote pills. If we go out, we will still die. They were all stunned. Even if they unlocked their shackles, the poison in their bodies hadn't been cured. What was the point of that? The antidote pills weren't on the guards. They only had temporary antidote pills. The effects were very limited. They couldn't persist forever. This time, many people were stunned, and the hope in their eyes suddenly dimmed. Don't worry. I will refine a batch of antidote pills to completely remove the poison in your bodies. Yi Tianyun said in a low voice. What you need now is to unlock your shackles. Prepare to kill our way out. His voice was like the most beautiful sound in the world. When it reached their ears, they were all dumbfounded. He can refine antidote pills. Really? We're saved. We're saved. They shouted and hurriedly began to untie the shackles on their body again. At the same time, Tianyun is already analyzing the poison pill, and he easily analyzed the poison pill. This poison pill was much weaker than the poison pill that the Spirit Tribe Patriarch took. It was like a weakened version. Naturally, it would be easier to detoxify it. It was basically equivalent to a second-grade pill. One could imagine how easy it was. Fortunately, it's a second-grade pill. Otherwise, it would be more troublesome. Tianyun found a large pile of spiritual medicine from his storage ring. These were all looted when he passed by the alchemy room. No matter what grade they were, he would plunder them. He knew that some spiritual medicine could be used to refine antidote pills. He just didn't expect there to be so many cultivators here. When he was refining the pills, many cultivators around him didn't just stand there. Instead, they picked up their hoes and started digging. They seemed to be working harder and harder than before. What he dug out were the most precious and the best materials. However, they didn't take the materials they dug out. Many cultivators moved the ores they dug out and moved them to Tianyun's side. Obviously, they were going to pay him. Tianyun was stunned. He didn't think about this and didn't ask for any payment. He didn't expect that they would take the initiative to give him the ores they dug out. Some of them wanted to dig out more ores while they were refining the pills. Chapter 323. Tianyun tried to dissuade them. You can keep these ores, I don't need them. Each of you can take some so that it will be more convenient for you to move around after we get out of here. However, they were still indifferent and continued to dig ores for him. We don't have anything on us, so we can only give you these as a reward. You can save us, so this is already a very low reward. Yes, we don't have anything to repay you with. We can only offer the ores we dug out here to you. I am willing to follow you, Benefactor. Me too, I am willing to follow Benefactor. If Benefactor has enmity with the Netherworld Empire, I will follow Benefactor for the rest of my life to deal with the Netherworld Empire. Yes, kill all the dogs of the Netherworld Empire. Kill all the bastards of the Netherworld Empire. All of them were very angry because they had suffered so much. If it wasn't because they still had a little bit of hope, or if their hearts were not filled with revenge, they would have already died a long time ago. Living in this place was worse than death, and they had to bear the pain of the poison pill every day. Now that Tianyun came to save them, they saw hope again and were very grateful. But no matter how grateful he was, other than his life, there was nothing else he could give. The Netherworld Empire must be eradicated, but we must act according to our capabilities. Unnecessary sacrifice is meaningless. Tianyun said in a deep voice, our main goal now is to escape and survive. Once we have enough strength, we will take revenge on the Netherworld Empire. As he spoke, he quickly refined the elixirs. Very soon, the first batch of elixirs was refined, and there were more than 100 of them. Then, he distributed the pills to a few people so that it would be easier for them to distribute. They didn't rush to take the pills, but lined up one by one. After taking the pills, their complexion immediately improved and they didn't feel the pain anymore. I feel that the poison in my body is gone. It's really gone. It's really gone. I thought that I would be troubled by this poison for the rest of my life. Tears streamed down their cheeks and they were very excited. Previously, when Tianyun said that he could concoct an antidote, they didn't believe him. But now, it seemed like it was true. This caused many people to be filled with hope. They wanted to be the first to consume these medicinal pills. Among them, there was no lack of people who wanted to snatch medicinal pills to consume. Among the thousands of cultivators, there was no lack of people who were greedy for life and afraid of death. There was also no lack of people who were usually more overbearing. They definitely did not want to die. No matter what their character was, it was enough that they were filled with anger towards the Netherworld Empire. One by one, don't fight. Tianyun said in a low voice, indicating that they should settle down. They immediately stopped and lowered their heads awkwardly. They didn't fight anymore. I know all of you are anxious and want to get rid of the poison as soon as possible so that you can escape. You don't have to worry, everyone has a share, and it will be done very soon. Just as he finished speaking, Yi Tianyun finished refining another batch of elixirs and ordered someone to distribute them. It didn't take long for the elixirs to be refined. During the refining process, some guards rushed down from above, but before they could reach Yi Tianyun, they were shot dead by Yi Tianyun with an arrow. This process didn't interrupt Yi Tianyun's refining process at all. He could refine pills with one hand and shoot arrows with the other. When they saw this, they were amazed. Yi Tianyun was definitely the strongest cultivator they had ever seen. Soon, thousands of elixirs were refined, and all the cultivators consumed them, clearing the toxins in their bodies. This time, they were very excited and their eyes were no longer filled with despair. One by one, they brought the ores to Yi Tianyun and motioned for him to accept them. Yi Tianyun saw that they were doing this, but he didn't refuse them and accepted them. Thank you for saving our lives, benefactor. Thank you, benefactor. As long as benefactor gives the order, I will go through water and tread on fire. I am willing to do anything for benefactor. I am willing to follow benefactor for the rest of my life, no matter where you go. One by one, they knelt down and kowtowed to him 3 times to express their gratitude. Get up quickly, there's no need to do this. Now, everyone, get ready. Later, we will kill our way out. I have killed most of the guards outside, but there's still a small group left. So, it's still a little dangerous to go out. However, you guys just need to follow me and don't get separated. Yi Tianyun took the lead and charged out. The others followed and once again killed their way out. There were undoubtedly many corpses of guards outside. They were all killed by him. When they killed their way out, there were indeed many guards rushing over. The Netherworld prison was very big, and some guards didn't stay here. Instead, they stayed in another area. When they heard that there was a problem here, they rushed over. However, there weren't many of them left. He had killed most of them, and the remaining ones weren't difficult. Soon, under his lead, they successfully charged out of the Netherworld prison. When the thousands of cultivators escaped, they saw the scene outside and exclaimed in surprise. They hadn't seen the situation outside for a long time, and it made them burst into tears. Hurry up and leave this place before the reinforcements arrive. Yi Tianyun motioned for them to leave this place as soon as possible. Where's our benefactor? They looked at Yi Tianyun and asked. Many of them wanted to follow Yi Tianyun. I still need to destroy the Netherworld prison. You guys go first. Yi Tianyun motioned for them to leave. But, if you want to repay me, leave this place as soon as possible. That's the best way to repay me. You don't need to follow me. You just need to become stronger. It's enough for you to know that your enemy is the Netherworld Empire. Yi Tianyun said in a deep voice. In this life, the Netherworld Empire is my enemy. As long as there's an opportunity, I will kill them all. Yes, even if we can't kill them, we can still cause some damage. Then let's listen to our benefactor and leave this place first. They obeyed Yi Tianyun's order and didn't stay here any longer. They quickly fled in all directions and soon disappeared. Yi Tianyun knew that he wasn't a good person, but he didn't like the Netherworld Empire, so he released all the cultivators that he had captured. These cultivators would definitely have a great impact on the Netherworld Empire in the future. Successfully completed, saving a life is better than building a 7-storied pagoda, level 2 achievement. The title of Savior has been changed to Sword to Help. The effect has been increased by 1000 points. Chapter 324. His character points exploded. Compared to before, it had increased by quite a bit. This was really shocking. Yi Tianyun didn't think that this title would be upgraded, but after thinking about it carefully, he decided to give this title to the people he saved before. Now that he saved a lot of people at once, it was only natural that his prestige value would be upgraded. If it continued to be upgraded, his prestige value would definitely increase. The importance of prestige value is too big, it affects too many things, such as lottery, alchemy and so on. This is a very important value, so it is definitely better to have more prestige value. Sure enough, doing more good things is good for oneself. Yi Tianyun smiled, he was quite satisfied. When he was about to enter the netherworld prison and destroy it, an oppressive force came from afar, as if the sky was about to collapse, making him feel a sense of crisis. Is General Long here? Not only was Yi Tianyun not afraid, but he also laughed. After fooling around for so long, General Long finally came to rescue him. But this is understandable, the location of the netherworld prison is a bit remote, plus General Long must be busy with other things, even if he received the distress signal, he would not be able to come in time. Sure enough, a moment later, a huge red dragon flew towards him from afar. Its huge body was even bigger than his black dragon, and its cultivation was correspondingly higher. It was at level 8 of the core transformation stage. On the back of this red dragon stood a man wearing red armor, holding a blood-red spear in his hand, looking at Yi Tianyun coldly. Although the distance is very far, this gaze is like a sharp thorn, piercing fiercely into Yi Tianyun's eyes. Yi Tianyun didn't even blink his eyes, he just smiled slightly. What a powerful gaze. As expected of a strong cultivation, just a gaze is enough to make people surrender. Detailed data immediately appeared in front of Yi Tianyun's eyes. Red Dragon, cultivation level 8 of core transformation stage, has a powerful heaven-burning fire, even a peak core transformation stage cultivator would not dare to take it lightly. Potential, grade 5. Comprehensive combat power, 4, 1 million, normal state, General Long, Void Spirit Stage Level 1, wearing Red Dragon Armor, low-grade Heaven rank, holding Red Dragon Divine Spear, low-grade Heaven rank, combat power 14 million, normal state. The martial arts he knew included Dragon Sky Art, Tyrannical Soul Spear Art, etc. Weakness, no weakness. Drops Red Dragon Armor, Red Dragon Divine Spear, Dragon Sky Art, Dragon God Bloodline. 14 million combat power, and this is the normal state. After the appraisal eyes leveled up, there was an additional status. In fact, this state was not essential. In his normal state, he did not unleash anything, but he already had such terrifying combat power. The superposition of combat power came from martial arts, weapon effects, or elixirs. Therefore, there were too many uncertain factors. This is just like the previous Divine Rune Mansion's old ancestor. At first, his battle power was around 4 to 5 million, but when he erupted, his battle power reached 10 to 20 million. The increase in combat power wasn't unique to Crazy Mode, it was just that Crazy Mode was more heaven-defying. 14 million combat power, heaven-level weapon, heaven-level armor, no wonder, when Yi Tianyun saw General Long, he knew that it would be difficult for him to deal with him. He believed that General Long would have more than 30 million combat power when he goes all out. How can he fight against him? The existence of Void Spirit stage level is so terrifying. Coupled with heaven-level weapon, these are even more heaven-defying. Immediately, he raised the Ice Divine Bow and aimed at General Long. 5,000 crazy points were instantly consumed, then turned into a huge ice arrow, and the surrounding ice attribute was sucked away. At the same time, he activated Crazy Mode and stacked the effect of 8 times. 10 million. 13 million. 16 million. 21 million. 25 million. 29 million. 31 million. 34 million. Finally, when he condensed 34 million combat power, his combat power didn't increase anymore. With the Ice Fury, his power suddenly increased a lot. All this is thanks to the damaged Divine Rune, otherwise it would be impossible to reach such an amazing value. His cultivation is only at 4th level core transformation stage, so his basic combat power is relatively limited, but under the stacking, his combat power suddenly exploded. This is equivalent to stacking 12 times the damage value. Dragon God Bloodline, activate. The blood-colored dragon scales all over his body exploded, and suddenly his power increased by another level, piling up in the 12 times damage value. Boom! 35 million. 36 million. 37 million. The value directly exploded. 37 million combat power is definitely the strongest power he has ever had. When he condensed this power, a large area around him has been frozen. General Long in the distance felt that something is wrong, and when he saw the situation here, his face sank. This terrifying ice arrow made him feel a sense of crisis. Ice Fury. Yi Tianyun's eyes flashed with a cold light, and then a blue light quickly penetrated through. Everything in its path was frozen, and the temperature here suddenly dropped by dozens of degrees. The speed is even more amazing. In the blink of an eye, it is not far from General Long Tianjue. General Long quickly unleashed his power. Dragon energy soared into the sky, and a blood-red dragon shadow appeared behind him, wrapping around his body. His combat power instantly exploded, directly rushing to 35 million. It can be said that this move can be described as shocking, and the power of the Void Spirit stage completely burst out. The Void Spirit behind him even gradually condensed, forming a solid form, greatly strengthening his power. This is the power of the Void Spirit stage, which can burst out from the body of the Void Spirit stage. Everyone awakens a different power, but General Long awakened the power of a red dragon, and dense dragon scales covered his body. The red dragon under him fused with him, as if they have become one, and his combat power increased again. Combat power 38 million. Full power state. Tyrant Spirit. Immediately after, General Long thrust forward. 2 gigantic dragon souls whizzed out, and even the phantom behind him roared and bit the frost's wrath that was piercing towards him. Boom! When the two collided, a huge explosion was set off, and a burst of cold air swept in all directions, except for General Long. Obviously, General Long's attack is more powerful. With the appraisal eye, the final move has more than 40 million combat power, crushing everything. This is not out of Yi Tianyun's expectation. Void Spirit stage powerhouses are originally heaven-defying, and if they are matched with all kinds of powerful weapons or martial arts, they will be a real powerhouse. General Long can sit in this position, he is not a pig. Chapter 325. General Long's spear was able to destroy Yi Tianyun's wrath of ice. The terrifying power of this spear was enough to make everyone tremble. Yi Tianyun didn't think that it was a big deal. If Void Spirit stage didn't have this kind of power, then they wouldn't be called Void Spirit stage. Moreover, General Long was wearing a lot of heaven rank equipment. If he was killed by Yi Tianyun's arrow, then it would be too weak. Although General Long was able to destroy Yi Tianyun's attack, he was still shocked. Yi Tianyun's power was far beyond his imagination. Especially when he saw how young Yi Tianyun was. Which force do you belong to? How dare you break into my netherworld prison? Before General Long flew over, he had already shouted at Zhang Xian. He wanted to know which faction this young man belonged to. Of course, I am from the Netherworld Empire. Yi Tianyun laughed. He raised his ice divine bow and shot 3 arrows towards General Long. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. How dare you trick me? General Long was infuriated. He waved his spear and the 3 frost arrows were easily destroyed. Without the frost's fury, the power of the spear was greatly reduced. Naturally, it was easier to block the arrows. Yi Tianyun smiled. He didn't run out of the prison. Instead, he ran into the netherworld prison. General Long was stunned. I didn't expect you to run into the netherworld prison. Wait until I catch you. I will make you wish you were dead. General Long's eyes were filled with killing intent. Not waiting for Yi Tianyun to run for too long, followed by a bang sound, the walls on both sides of the entrance instantly collapsed, blocking the entrance. General Long was stunned by Yi Tianyun's action. He didn't expect Yi Tianyun to do this, blocking the door. You think that you can hide inside by blocking the entrance? You are too naive. General Long fiercely brandished the long spear in his hand, and a blood dragon phantom whizzed forward. Soon, the rubble was blasted away, and an opening was forcibly blasted open. When he rushed in, he found that the walls inside had been smashed. All the passageways along the way had been smashed. Not a single place was intact. Could it be that this kid doesn't want to go out for the rest of his life? General Long was enraged in his heart, but he was stunned for a moment before he exclaimed, "Wait, wasn't there a reinforcement rune here? How could it be broken so easily?" He was dumbfounded. He had never thought that something like this would happen. Even he couldn't easily break through this wall, but the young man from before had done it. Could it be that he's broken through the strengthening runes here? General Long's face darkened. Soon after, sounds of explosions came from inside, causing him to be extremely furious. Bastard, he wants to destroy the Netherworld prison. He angrily rushed inside, but if he wanted to rush in, he had to push away the rubble. Otherwise, he wouldn't be able to pass. Along the way, his speed was greatly reduced, and he couldn't catch up smoothly. Inside, Yi Tianyun continued to destroy everything along the way. He didn't stop to kill his way in. After quickly breaking through the runes, he used the Ice Divine Bow to shoot a few arrows at the wall, causing it to collapse. Then, he continued to rush in, destroying the surrounding walls along the way. When he passed by the mine, he only glanced at it and didn't bother with it anymore. Although it was a pity, now wasn't the time to mine, so he could only continue to flatten the place. From the beginning to the end, he bombarded indiscriminately. Most of the area had collapsed, and only the last part was left. Just a little bit more, and I can destroy the Netherworld prison. Yi Tianyun felt exhausted after destroying everything along the way. Fortunately, he had a lot of recovery elixirs. Otherwise, it would be difficult for him to continue. Shooting arrows crazily consumed a lot of energy. Bastard, die for me. General Long's angry roar came from behind him. A ray of light pierced through, turning the rocks here into powder. Then, General Long chased after him. Even with so many rubble blocking him, he still managed to catch up. Just as he caught up, he saw Yi Tianyun, picked up the spear in his hand, and fiercely stabbed at Yi Tianyun. A cold light flashed, and two dragon shadows entangled him. His battle power was nearly 40 million. Yi Tianyun's expression didn't change. He equipped the phoenix wings and quickly dodged to the side. After dodging the two attacks, the attack followed the previous direction and hit the wall. With a loud sound, a large area of the wall collapsed. It was much stronger than when he used the Ice Divine Bow. Thank you for your help. Yi Tianyun smiled and quickly rushed inside. This made General Long fly into a rage. He once again chased after him, suddenly picked up the spear in his hand, and once again stabbed at Yi Tianyun. This time, a terrifying power instantly locked onto him. It made Yi Tianyun feel like he couldn't escape. No matter how he dodged, he couldn't escape. Let's see how you can escape this time. A light flashed in General Long's eyes. When he was about to burst out, a huge rock smashed down from the sky and hit him. With a loud bang, the feeling of being locked on immediately disappeared. This made Yi Tianyun smile. It seems that your luck is not very good. A rock just happened to hit you. He smiled and continued to escape. He was about to use the shadow cloak to resist the attack, but it seemed that it wasn't necessary now. General Long's attack was interrupted by the rock. There's still a small part left. I can leave after destroying it. The entire Netherworld prison was very big. He couldn't destroy it all, but he could destroy the cages here. As long as he destroyed all the cages, regardless of whether the mission was completed or not, he would quickly leave this place. Otherwise, General Long would really catch up to him. Wrath of Frost. When he rushed to the Forbidden Spirit area, he unlocked the Divine Rune. When the cooldown time was just over, he immediately released his strongest attack and blasted it on the Forbidden Spirit area. Boom! With a loud noise, the Netherworld prison was completely turned into ruins. If he wanted to repair it, he would need to find a Divine Rune Grandmaster, and it would take a long time to rebuild it. Successfully completed, destroy the Netherworld prison, save all the prisoners quest. Reward, 50 million EXP, 100. 000 CPS, 100. 000 SPS, 200 Prestige, 100 Commander Points. Chapter 326. Looks like I just have to destroy these 3 prisons. I don't have to destroy all of them. If I really have to destroy all of them to complete the mission, it'll be really troublesome. Yi Tianyun was delighted. This was the result he had hoped for. If he had destroyed all of them, it wouldn't have mattered if General Long wasn't around. Now that he was chasing after General Long, he couldn't destroy this place with peace of mind. Therefore, when he saw General Long, he chose to only destroy these 3 cages. He couldn't destroy the rest for the time being. Fortunately, the mission only required him to destroy these 3 cages. Otherwise, the rewards would have been wasted. Damn it, how dare you destroy the Forbidden Spirit Zone! General Long let out a furious roar. His entire body flickered with red light as he charged over. The phantom image behind him made him look like a berserk red dragon. As he charged over, the ground began to tremble. It was quite terrifying. Yi Tianyun smiled and said, "That's right. So what if I destroyed the Forbidden Spirit Zone?" "I destroyed your mind too, idiot." Soon after, a gigantic sword appeared in his hand. He suddenly waved the gigantic sword in his hand and slashed heavily at General Long, Titan's Wrath. Boom! A gigantic sword descended from the sky and ruthlessly slashed down on General Long's body, wanting to completely pierce through him. "Get out of my way." General Long didn't care about this at all. He roared and waved the spear in his hand to attack. A sense of danger that locked onto Yi Tianyun surged again. Without a doubt, General Long was using his previous ultimate skill again. It was just that the falling boulder had interrupted his move. Then, a red dragon chi shot out from the spear and turned into a red light. In the blink of an eye, it was already in front of Yi Tianyun. The speed of this attack was much faster than his own. General Long wanted to fight him head-on to see who would be defeated first. "Try to fight me? You're still too young." A black cloak appeared on Yi Tianyun's body. It fluttered behind him and blocked in front of him. At the same time, his attack speed didn't decrease. He continued to slash forward. Boom! The giant sword ruthlessly pierced downwards. At this moment, the red dot had already pierced through and hit his body. Yi Tianyun was sent flying, and General Long was also sent flying by the fierce attack. Even though his combat power was not as great as General Long's, his strength was still very shocking, and he could still injure General Long. General Long was sent flying, but he quickly twisted his body in midair and pressed down fiercely, immediately dispersing the momentum of his backward flight. Then, he flew towards Yi Tianyun and laughed coldly, "I don't believe you can still move after being hit by my dragon spike." When he broke through the dust and flew inside, he realized that there wasn't even a shadow in front of him. Not to mention Yi Tianyun, there wasn't even a strand of hair. What's going on? Where is he? General Long was shocked. He could still sense Yi Tianyun's aura a moment ago. How did he disappear in the blink of an eye? He quickly looked around, but no matter how hard he looked, he couldn't find any trace of Yi Tianyun. This made him extremely shocked. A living person had escaped right under his nose, and he hadn't sensed anything at all. What's going on? How did he escape? General Long was shocked. He couldn't understand how a person could just disappear right under his nose. He couldn't understand it no matter how hard he thought about it. He didn't know how Yi Tianyun escaped, but Yi Tianyun knew how he escaped. At this moment, Yi Tianyun was already flying in the direction of the spirit tribe. He had used teleportation to escape very smoothly, without any difficulty. After teleporting half a mile away, he immediately chose to fly away. No matter how hard General Long searched, he wouldn't be able to find him. Unless he teleported in an open area, General Long would be able to easily find him. At first glance, General Long would be able to see where Yi Tianyun was. At that time, teleportation could only be regarded as speeding up his escape. On Yi Tianyun's way back, the news that the Netherworld prison had been destroyed immediately spread to the entire Netherworld continent and even the other continents. As one of the symbols of the Netherworld Empire, it was destroyed just like that. All the forces were shocked. Who would do such a thing? Soon, the news reached the ears of the Imperial Master and the Netherworld Emperor. The Netherworld Emperor was extremely angry, so he immediately summoned everyone. What the hell is going on? Our Netherworld Empire's Netherworld prison has been destroyed just like that. The Netherworld Emperor's expression was cold, and his eyes were filled with killing intent. All the ministers in the audience were trembling in fear, and they didn't dare to look at the Netherworld Emperor. Immediately, the Netherworld Emperor looked at General Long and said in a deep voice, "General Long, I heard that you fought with the saboteur for a few times, and in the end, the saboteur ran away?" "Yes, his strength is not weak. His cultivation is roughly at the peak of core transformation, maybe even higher. However, compared to me, he is still a level weaker. The most important thing is that he seems to have some kind of special ability. He was able to hide his aura, so I couldn't find him at all." General Long bowed his head and cupped his fists. "This is indeed my mistake. If I meet him again, I will definitely capture him and bring him back." "It's more than a mistake." The Netherworld Emperor snorted. "This is simply a disgrace to the Netherworld Empire. The Netherworld prison is heavily guarded and impregnable, but it has been destroyed just like that. Moreover, so many spirit races members and cultivators have also escaped. Emperor, please rest assured, we have already sent people to capture them. We will have news soon." A minister immediately came to report. "No need, kill them as soon as you find them." The Netherworld Emperor said in a cold voice, "The most important thing now is the spirit race's matter. The old ancestor of the spirit race has escaped, and if he recovers his cultivation, he will be a very difficult opponent to deal with. Don't think that he is going to die soon, but if he really explodes, it will not be good for anyone." "Hee, Emperor, don't worry, the old ancestor of the spirit race has been poisoned by me. Apart from me, no one can detoxify the poison, so you can rest assured." A strange man walked out from the side. His face was very pale. He was the Netherworld Empire's Imperial Preceptor. "I trust the Imperial Preceptor's poison. By the way, what's going on with the spirit race? Didn't Lei Yun take his people to attack the spirit race? Where is the news?" The Netherworld Emperor asked. There is no news. It is very likely that he is trapped inside or dead." One of the ministers said. "Trash. All of you are trash." The Netherworld Emperor said angrily, "General Long, I ordered you to take your people to occupy the spirit race. Originally, I wanted to take it back unscathed, but now it seems that it is not necessary. This is your chance to make up for your mistake. You're tuning in to the Blissful Bookshelf YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.